Go for it. Hello and welcome to On The Esky. On today's show, we're going to tackle the State of Origin. Game 1 happened last night. Then we'll jump into what round are we up to? Round
14 for
14
NRL,
and 13
13 for footy.
Yeah, so for the NRL and AFL, then we'll go international and cover the major talking points for all the American sports, 2 of which are in playoffs at the moment. Then there's cricket news, Test cricket, of course, and a final wrap-up of everything, fighting world, F1, golf, tennis. Oh, and the Euros are coming up. So us 4 dribblers are back to talk about sport. My name is Sean, of course. On my left, I've got Pepe and the monkey at the end of the table, and on my right is Macca.
What's happening?
How you boys been this week?
Yeah, good. A lot to get into, so...
Sport every day of the week. It's been it's been good. We're get stuck in. We're in for a bumpy ride here on the Esky.
Let's jump in, I reckon. No time to spare tonight.
Let's kick it off then, and we'll start off the first segment with Shout a Beer. Macca, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to shout myself a beer this week. I just played nine rounds of golf with my mate Simo. So
9 rounds.
9 rounds.
Yeah,
So it felt like 9 rounds for me out there. It was bloody cold and wet. I finished as the snake. So for those listening at home, if you are 3-putt, the last person to 3-putt is the snake. And as a snake, you have to scull a beer, which I'm going to do now. But to point out, Pepsi was saying off air,
Rule clarification, if you don't mind.
3 putts on the green. If you're on the fringe or you're on the edge and you want to bring the coward's wedge out just to get it up there, lag it up there a bit, doesn't count.
Texas wedge does not count.
Coward wedge, I like to call it. But, I had a stink up. So 3 putts for me and a skull. Sean, who are you shouting?
So my shout of beer is to the retiring Greek, Steve
Antonopoulos.
He actually retires from the Denver Broncos. He's been the head athletic trainer for the last 45 years, as mentioned. He's been with the club through all 8 of their Super Bowl appearances, including the one before John Elway. Legend is absolute,
Understatement.
And father figure essentially at the club. He's been around for all the major injuries and helped all the guys rehab. He's the one that helped Elway and Manning get through their injuries and get deep into their careers and get finally to winning Super Bowls. So big shout out to him in his retirement. Great servant to the game, and he's a beer to you.
Deserved. Max?
Yep. So my shout out beer for the week. Well, he could probably shout all of us a beer. Logan Paul.
He could shout 26 million of them, I think.
Shout a house.
At least. For not getting knocked out, keeping relevant.
Well,
keeping all of us.
Well, technically not getting knocked out.
I think we'll get to that. We'll save that.
We'll save it for later. But making money.
He didn't embarrass himself. Let's put it that way.
No. Yeah.
Speaking of embarrassing themselves, I would like to shout the state of Queensland a beer because they are absolutely licking their wounds after their biggest Origin loss last night. An extreme show of sportsmanship out of myself. They tend to gloat and be real cockheads when they win 8 in a row. Not
all of them.
Well, a lot tend to. But yeah, obviously State of Origin last night. It will be our first talking point tonight. Queensland. The Milton Mangoes are on Pepsi tonight. See what you can come up with in 3 weeks down in Brisbane.
Yep. Yeah. So with that, I think we'll roll straight into the State of Origin chat for the week. As Peps alluded to, Queensland lost Game 1 in Townsville 50-6.
Yep.
They got pumped.
Biggest losing margin ever for the Queensland side in the history of State of Origin.
Yes. I think the last time New South Wales had scored 50, it was 56-16 in 2000.
2004.
No, it was earlier than that. It was 2000 or 2001.
It was the hand grenade, when they did the hand grenade celebration.
Yes. Right. Yeah,
it was Fittler and Johns.
But that was only what was that, quick math, 40 deficit?
Quick maths is not a thing. But
I'm just doing it
to answer your question, it's 40. It was 56-16. It was 40 points.
Yes.
But yes, I think we need to slowly move away from the quick maths on this podcast.
So a few quick notes leading up to the game. So the pre-game, as we mentioned last week, Ben Hunt was rushed into the team as 18th man in case they needed extra hooker in case AJ Brimson could not play. And Gus Gould gave his last pre-match monologue, kind of kicking off the State of Origin series, and by all accounts, it was a bit spine-tingling for those that enjoyed it and got to see it.
I'm not a big Gus Gould fan.
I don't think anyone is
as a commentator. No, but the pre-game it gets me aroused. It gets the blood pumping. Yeah. I watched this back and I thought this is good. It's much like us looking back to previous world leaders, world inspires, Caesars and Churchill.
So we're putting Gus up at that level.
Yeah, we'll drag him down to this level. A father once asked his son, "Is it possible for a man to still be brave when on the inside he's truly afraid?" And the father replied, "When you're truly afraid, that's the only time a man can truly be brave." And I tell you what, the hairs on the back of my neck, they stuck up.
Where's the nearest wall to run through?
To be honest, calling the game, can't stand the bloke, but that's his last one. And shout out to the Gus Gould.
Yes.
Yeah. Big shoes to fill for whoever who's going to do that, the pre-game monologue.
Oh,
reckon
surely
will be
they've
up
been
next?
that. You can't. It's part of the game. It's part of the whole series.
Apparently he's done. Apparently he's done.
But that's what I meant. You can't have now
can't.
someone else jump in there and do it. I don't
Sure
know.
you can.
Oh,
The hectic cheese, I reckon he'd be good.
far
He
out.
can't play for either side. The
cheese, the
shredded
neutral.
cheese now.
The mozzarella.
The mozzarella.
And the final note we had there was the Panthers debutants, Tao and Jerome, sorry.
Dirty
Lua.
Queenslander.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to see him.
They ran out together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Threw the banner together. We bleed blue, I think is what it said on it. So, yes. But we'll get to the actual match. And what are your boys' thoughts?
What was it? Fucking shit pumping, wasn't it? My first thought was watching the first 15 minutes. It was like, okay, this is poised to be a good game. Harry Grant was running the ball out from dummy half, attacking the line, and then you just started to get the feeling this is going to be one-way traffic. It's going to be absolutely one-way traffic. Tommy Turbo, he's probably
He's the best player in the league at the moment.
he's probably the best.
100%.
Yeah.
This year, yeah.
Unbelievable. Latrell was doing crazy things on that left edge. Cleary was good. Luai, an unbelievable debut. We were thinking, are these young Panthers going to be able to step up? He was unreal. To'o was unreal.
Or just the partnership with them, and then obviously Cleary as well. They know where each other is.
Indeed, and we spoke about it last ep, how New South Wales only went with one Panther last year in Nathan Cleary for the first game. Yo ended up playing game 2 and game 3 last year, but going with five
Ride the hot hand,
five
so,
blokes
yeah,
from a
yeah.
team that's in form. Isaiah Yo was in incredible touch, and Luai he seems like he's built for the big stage. He was unbelievable. Do you think losing Christian Welch early with that head knock?
I think
hurt a
Fucking
little
he was
bit?
gone too, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Gee
he was
whiz.
wobbly on his feet, wasn't he?
and I think he was only just coming back from a separate injury, but also
It wasn't a head knock though.
He's
was it?
had concussions in
past.
the past as well. But I think you brought it up, like the first 15 minutes, look good. Welsh goes at 12. So I think that was kind of the turning point because they really didn't have size as well in the forward pack. Of course, no Papali or Papalili in the team for the Queenslanders. So, and they had Big Tino playing as a prop where he's kind of floats between a prop and a second rower.
Yep.
So maybe they're lacking a little bit of size, especially when they brought on Haas and big Junior Paulo.
Yeah.
But also, I'd say that Harry Grant and Munster probably came into this a bit undercooked.
Yep.
Especially Munster, you could tell. I think he just looked a bit.
Yeah, well, I thought
Well,
Harry
both,
Grant
I
by
thought,
60.
I thought Grant started all right. Though. He
Started really well.
I think
he
they
didn't have
bo-
the legs. like
Yeah,
you said,
I think they both started really well, but that second half of that first half they kind of struggled, and then by the 60th minute, Harry Grant was shot. You could see he could barely get back into the defensive line. He was so tired.
I think perhaps you made the point last week. He doesn't even play 80 for Storm. They
It
have
was
the
a
cheese
huge
there.
ask,
They
wasn't
use
it? It was a huge ask.
So
Yeah,
to come
and-
off, not playing. I think
Yeah,
it's,
and then they brought AJ Brimston on, and he's not a hooker.
and
Very quickly and apparent, his service out of dummy half wasn't what you'd expect out of a guy playing there. So he's a specialist fullback and not a guy that can kind of cover multiple positions like say Jack Whiten could.
Yep.
As a comparison. So I said to you guys afterwards is do I think Ponga and Papalili add 40 points to this team? Maybe not.
No, I would have thought they'd make it a lot closer.
They'd make it,
I feel like.
which is kind of what I thought. This game could have been 30-18, but they let them run away with the last 20
Well, once
points.
it was gone, it was fucking
Exactly.
gone.
They didn't. There was no. What I mean is there was no grit or getting into the grind at that point. They just collapsed. They completely collapsed, and then the floodgates were open, which is kind of what you would hope to see out of a Queensland side. Is they'd get into that grind and at least compete towards to the final whistle. Essentially,
It was party time. That last 20 minutes was party time. New South Wales could
do whatever
they
they
weren't.
want.
They were breaking tackles. I don't like. And we'll get into Latrell's game, but breaking tackles, but the efforts of some of the tackles were just they were falling off blokes. Like it was just genuinely throwing the ball around. And I'll agree, the last 3 or 4 tries were just soft as anything from the middle of the field, just sort of setting up there. So I agree with Sean. Before the game, I thought this was going to be really close.
Yeah.
But then you look
that
back
first
on
15 minutes,
was exactly what you thought it would be. They're going to feel each other out. I think Cleary's game was actually really underrated because he assessed the situation. He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't. You wouldn't Tarek Sims' pass to set up that try was that's something you remember. Cleary didn't really do anything other than bleed a shitload out of his face that you'd say, oh, he did that. But I think him controlling, having that connection with Luai, his kicking game was good. Yep. Didn't make any mistakes. Set the rest of the team up, and then after that, for sort of 15-20 minute mark. It's hard to say there's 2 teams out there really. It was just an annihilation.
Yeah, and Queensland made too many errors. I think when they did have the ball, they had a lot of less possession, especially in the first half. I thought Munster, he had the primary role as the kicker to start with, and we thought maybe there's a lot of win there, but maybe he was just under kicking the balls, unfortunately. And DCE really didn't kind of get into the game until end of the first half towards the second half.
It looked like there was a lot of win watching it. Apparently there wasn't. That much. So
I think, and Munster does have the habit of doing it, like over kicking the footy, like trying to just kick the crap out of the steed. And just I don't know, he didn't look like it could be a thing he is underdone. He just didn't look comfortable kicking the ball. I agree. And that field position game really kicked in after 15 minutes. It really just adds up as it does.
Yeah. So me as the Queenslander going into it, we'd hoped that, hey, they'd be well rested, they'd be good to go. But a month without footy for both Harry Grant and Munster kind of showed. Having guys like Ponga and AJ Brimson kind of coming in and out of the squad probably didn't help the preparation. I think Paul Green kind of reported today that, him as a first-time coach, they hadn't really trained real well, and he wasn't strict enough for the boys and got stuck into him about that. Because he, didn't want to step on too many toes as well, being the first-time coach there.
Gee, it's a soft, you don't hear that, hey, it's a soft sort of.
Yeah, and then everyone remembers, he did lose the Cowboys locker room before he then, left up to North Queensland, and so speculation, but they're going to have to find some grit and play, full 80. Whether they bring in Ben Hunt as a specialist hooker, who knows? Because Reid Marnie's injured.
Yeah, Marnie's done. So, and again, releasing him out of the camp to go play for Parramatta on the weekend, what does that achieve? You get
Para win, so it helped them.
But he got hurt so early on. Surely you keep him in the camp, and if your plan isn't to play him in the starting 17, he can learn and be around the boys. I didn't understand that move at all myself, and I think it's pretty evident. Harry Grant is not an 80-minute player at the minute, and having AJ Brimson come off the bench to play in a role that he's not used to playing, I think they have to pick Ben Hunt or someone that can be a proper utility in game 2.
Well, my big concern probably with Queensland, and I think we talked about it, was their forward pack is good and they've got extra weapons they can bring into that, but the back line is probably where their risk is, especially the centres. You got a second row playing as one, and then Gagai got really shown up by Latrell in this one.
Coming off tonsillitis as well.
So, he maybe a little underdone for him as well, but...
I think I was saying it to Macca, and I was saying 1 through 7, New South Wales on form is better at every single position, except for maybe 6. Maybe Munster over Luai, but tell you what, Luai looked great last night. But if you compare, 1 through 7 on form, I think New South Wales had the edge at every single position.
Yep.
And then, and even the forwards, Cameron Murray was great. Tarek Sims, the aggression that he was showing.
Career game for Tarek Sims. Big shout out to him, because we were questioning him last week and he's come out and absolutely dominated in this one. So big shout out to him.
Well, the 2 biggest question marks I had, and most people had, were probably Tarek Sims' selection, massive tick. and Latrell not so much Latrell, but Turbo and Latrell in the centres, playing fullbacks there. They sort of got in trouble last year. They're the two best players on the ground. So, two big ticks for the biggest question marks, and that's why you put 50 points on the board.
And the funny thing is, Turbo was named at centre, but it was like they had two fullbacks. He was going.
He played wherever he wanted.
Going left side, right side. He didn't give a fuck. Latrell actually played like a proper centre would, and was unbelievable. But it was like having, A1 and A2 out there with Teddy and Turbo. Teddy had a good game, but he was completely outshadowed by the play of Turbo. And mate, maybe I've got my blue glasses on, but
I think it did help though that with the 20-point lead that Tommy Turbo could do whatever he wanted. Like
I agree.
He got a lot more freedom when you've got a good leader as well. So
I agree, but from what I saw last night,
he's
I
just dynamic,
and I can't see anything other than a whitewash in this series.
Yeah.
Seriously, I don't know how they go to Brisbane and turn it around, and then good luck in Game 3 in Sydney.
Well, we've seen other comps, series where Queensland might sneak game 1, get absolutely pumped in game 2, and then they end up winning game 3. So, anything can happen. A lot can happen in like 2 weeks.
Was big on that in his post match. He goes, "Look, it didn't look good out there, but at the end of the day, it's 1-0. That's what we've got to think about." And there's still two games left in this. But geez, from what I saw last night, good luck.
And I want to talk a little bit about Valentine Holmes playing fullback.
Yep.
And I mentioned to you boys, his defensive positional play is still pretty average. And looking back into it, I think he played fullback game 1 last year for Queensland. And I had the same comment that he's an attacking weapon, but his defensive play is still very, very lacking. And I haven't seen any improvement from last year to this year.
So for game 2, would you prefer Brimson there or a healthy Ponga?
Healthy Ponga or Brimson. If neither of those can go, maybe I'm start thinking about Reece Walsh, but then maybe I save him for game 3 if they're down by that point.
An 18-year-old as well.
Yeah, I know. So
he's played 7 first-grade games.
Exactly, but setting the world on fire at the moment. So that's why maybe not game 2, and you blood him for game 3 and see what happens. Especially if they lose game 2, you're like, well, we'll see what he's got. Because you can't bring Sam Walker into that squad. DC is going to be halfback. So I'm just I'm looking where's the options of attacking strike power in the league that we could add to the Queensland side, and there isn't a whole lot, unfortunately. And Walsh is probably on the top of that pick. It's whether you bring Ponga in. Can he write some of that? Hard to say.
From what I saw, start thinking about 2022.
Maybe.
No, I mean, God, they put 50 points on the board. That's a shit pumping of the highest order. But again, I don't know. I'm kind of with you.
The next game's in Suncorp. So
it's Origin.
Yeah, exactly. It's Origin.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah, they could win the next one at Suncorp and they're like, okay, we're going into the decider as usual in Sydney here. But, Queensland's record of Sydney's not real great.
It'll be interesting. Do you have the odds there, Monk? Just per chance. It'd be very interesting to see the early.
On the spot.
They'd be pretty short.
They'd
now.
be $1.20
surely. Yeah, after that showing.
Yeah.
And then Queensland in Brisbane, they barely lose there.
Well, I don't know. Queensland and Townsville's not out of the question.
Yeah, they're 0% now.
So, Monks gets us some odds. So, was Latrell the man of the match, or was it Turbo?
Yeah. No, it was Latrell.
Oh, was Latrell? Okay.
Yeah, I think he had 2 tries, 177 run meters, 10 tackle busts, 2 try assists. So, gave him 4 try involvements.
I think Tommy Turbo was a bit hard done by.
Yeah,
he had a hattie and probably had as many.
Yeah, a slight head scratcher for mine, but to be honest, it was a hard. It's a hard problem, easy problem even to have. Yeah. Between those two blokes because they were both unreal.
You got any odds there, Monks? And I got one more point to finish up on Stowe Road.
Go with your point.
What do you think of Cameron Munster's lash out on Liam Martin at the end?
The swinging leg.
Barely anything in it, and I'm pretty sure they came out today and said it's a fine and there won't be game.
Good. Same thing. To me, it looked more like a push off than an actual kick.
Fuck all in it.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I think Cleary actually lashed out at someone.
Trebojevic was man of the match.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
What are you doing? I'm sure it was Tommy Turbo.
No.
Fact check on the end here from Magga.
Sorry, I've got it in front of me, Peps. Sorry to do that to you. And also, he's clearly the best player on the ground.
Yeah. So what do we have there? We had 3 tries, 204 meters, 1 line break, 18 tackles, 19 runs, and 1 try assist.
For mine, it was always Tommy Turbo.
Who cares? They were both excellent. They can share it. Yeah. Monks, what are New South Wales odds to finish up?
So series winners actually.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm after.
Yep. So New South Wales at $1.06.
Well, I just
as
meant
like
more for
0.6 or 0.06?
$0.06. $1.06, yep.
That's for the whole series.
For the whole series, yeah.
Game 2.
That's
there.
pretty
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so
All right.
game day.
I thought I had that. Game day for next game. New South Wales are favourites at $1.45.
That's so
Oh,
short in
fuck.
Brisbane.
I don't know. I reckon that's value. This team's just won like 7 tries.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
We can give me nearly $1.50.
Well, we thought it was $1.20 a second ago. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
more than that. That's
I'm all
clever.
over that.
So, confirming it was Tommy Turbo as man of the match,
Tommy Turbo.
not Latrell.
But like we said, you can't argue they were the 2 best players on the ground, and
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
both playing out of position, quote unquote, like Latrell, like the Greg English,
They've both
He's a
played
tr-
centre. And
they
actually,
both have. But that was one of the question marks last year. They need to just play blokes in their position.
Yep.
Well, if you got a guy like Cleary, he can make and you put the talent around him. You want Trebojevic on the field in some capacity.
Yep.
You want him on the field. You want Latrell on the field in some capacity.
Yeah. I think last year they had the King on the wing and then Jack is the other centre, which kind of slightly a bit different because I don't think they really excel at those positions.
I think Gutho played centres.
So it was Gutho and Jack that play centres. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Missing these 2 blokes. So
Yeah, well, that's right. That's probably the difference.
yeah. And your point on Greg Inglis, there's already chat about can we get him back from Super League, the Super Rugby League to come back and play centre for Queensland.
Good luck.
But he's got a tear in his hamstring at the moment. So he's, I think, 2 weeks into like an 8-week rehab. So he's not coming back.
Anyways, that's State of Origin Game 1.
Yes.
Should we move into the news from the NRL this week?
So there's a whole bunch of little tidbits to cover. Volander's kind of conceded he should have consulted the players a bit more about the upcoming crackdown on the head knocks.
Lord Farquhar.
Yes. There was some reports, and I think this was coming from Hooper, reporting that a heap of Dragons players weren't happy with what Ben Hunt's been saying in the media leading up to this for the last couple of months. That also doesn't surprise me. But I think in the end, the players got what they wanted, which was more of a voice at the table. They've had none up to this point, and now they've kind of put their voice forward. So for Volander's, the Horseman's next change to rugby league, it'll have to go through the players. They'll actually get consulted, which I think is what they are after, was a seat at the table.
And look at last night, the premiere event.
The refereeing actually was really good last night.
I thought it was
good.
great. Yeah, I thought it was great. But also the players were quite disciplined. There wasn't anything that was over the top.
I think there was one slap on the chops, and it just was a penalty, no sin bin, which was good, which was fair. I thought that maybe a few little things went missing, but that's to be expected. You're not going to be perfect for a ref, and it went both ways.
Well, State of Origin, they usually leave
That's
it on the field a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in some sad news, Brett Morris has been forced into retirement.
Yeah, due to that ACL, we did speculate about.
But he's called it a day, essentially. He's done everything in the league that could possibly be done.
Pretty much, yeah. Two premierships, I think. One with the Dragons, one with the Roosters. 278 first-grade games, 18 for Australia, 15 for New South Wales. Fourth all-time in try-scoring with 176, second for wingers. I never got to watch Ken Irvine, as did any of us, a bit before our time. He's way up there with 212 tries.
Just shows how hard to get that point is.
It's hard to compare, but I'll tell you what, he's got to be in the conversation for one of the best wingers of all time. I suppose guys like Wendell Saylor and Lottie Takiri come to mind, that big body.
They changed the position at the time.
Didn't they?
It went from small fast guys to
big fast guys.
Yeah, big fast guys, second rowers that can run.
Yep.
But the league again changed. And the Morris brothers are a big part of what's been done for the last 10 years at the winger and centre position.
Yeah, and as a Dragons fan, loved having both of them there. And
how many clubs did Brett play for? Was it 4 or 5?
No, he played for St George, he played for Canterbury, and he played for the Roosters, I think 3.
3? I thought there was a 4th one.
I can chase that up.
Anyway, but it's sad to lose him to the game. Unfortunate end to his career, but we wish him all the best post-retirement. If we keep following the George Williams story, he's, I believe, been officially released with a severance payment, let's call it that, 100K payout of his, I think he's like on 700-ish K a year kind of contract. Hasn't gone back to England. He's currently on the Gold Coast, or had been on the Gold Coast holidaying.
So really homesick at the moment.
Yeah, so that was the angle Hooper was going
Go
with.
to the place that most resembles England.
Yes, and there had been a few clubs sniffing around, see his availability. So Australian NRL clubs. I think the main ones that were asking were also the beach clubs, as mentioned, that he would like to play for. So
that's such fucking noise. As if anyone gives a fuck. Like, you go where the money is, and you go where you think you might win a comp. Like,
but I think
like as if anyone thinks that. Oh, I want to go where the nicest beach is.
No. But I think the point was more that you were homesick. You were meant to go back home to England to be with your family.
Mate, COVID times, hard to travel.
Yeah, but going to play at a different club, it kind of smacks of, hey, I just wanted to be out of Canberra. So I'm not sure if there was an official thing in his contract in his release or not that he could only play for a Super Rugby League team. Yeah, that is. So back in England, but. Yeah, anyway. Further Raiders news.
More Raiders noise.
Yeah, Curtis Scott gets into a fight at Kokomo's, which is a bar here in Canberra. If you don't know, there was a dude that got his neck slashed there, a year or so ago?
Not even, I don't think,
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, so it's not a great place to go in there and start fights, I would say. Run a bit of a risk there. But the video footage is not real great. There's one or two punches thrown. But
geez, Curtis Scott seems like a real great bloke. Hey, don't want to hang out with him.
Well,
So-
he got stood down.
he stood down, and if he's found guilty, his contract will be essentially ripped up. So, which I think, I'm not sure if we got there as a note, probably leads into the Matt Duffy chat to the Raiders as one of the clubs looking in at him because they consider a chance possibly to go to the centre. And then Duffy will play one.
As a Dragons fan, I do not know why they're letting this bloke go. He played lights out during our podcast last week against the Broncos. 2 tries, 5 try assists. Him with the football, attacking, he's unbelievable. There's some question marks around his defence, but I was looking up. His missed tackles this year is on par with Tedesco.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's some kind of intangible that we can't assess from the outside.
Yeah, there's some rumours about he
kind
doesn't take coaching
or attitude or something. But geez, tell you what, I have seen in the Dragons Nation social media they started a petition to keep Duffy. I think they got a few signatures. So I hope that keeps rolling. I as a Dragons fan, love watching him play. He's electric with the ball. Look,
where else is their money going? Like, surely that's a guy you just pay.
Yeah,
it's a former Broncos players at this point.
Yeah, well, a lot of former Broncos, and I think a bit of the chat was they want Cody Ramsey to be their long-term one. He looks okay as a first-grade winger at the moment. Is he ready to jump in the one jersey and
you got your first-grade one
and be a great fullback? Not just yet, I don't think.
I like Ramsey on the wing as well, though.
Yeah, and give him a bit of time, mate. Yeah. I can't work this one out. I cannot work this one out. It's
there's got to be something else going on at the club. So besides Raiders, I think Brisbane were the only other one looking at the Duff Man because I think Osako is probably a little bit on the out for Brisbane too.
Drop this week.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
So we'll get to that at some point. Rolling into the Brisbane news, Milford needs knee surgery, so it looks like his time with Brisbane is done. Some rumours floating around that maybe he goes back to Canberra. Hopefully not. I think
hopefully not.
Yeah, I think Milford needs to go and get some confidence and probably get ready to be a NRL player of this decade. I think his body type and the way his style, or the way he was forced to play at Brisbane, essentially, I don't think fit the way the league's played anymore. So,
what happened with Milf? Because when he was at the Milk, unbelievable. One of the best up and coming young players in the league and then sort of teed it off up at the Broncos. Do you think it's a system thing? Or?
Maybe that, and he needed a good halfback because I think when he was here, we probably had. Do we have Campese playing next to him and then Sam Williams? So more veteran halfbacks that can do the management.
Fullback a lot of the time.
True there. But then when he's at Brisbane, their best was when he had Ben Hunt playing next to him. So Ben could do the management and then Milford could just focus on
that kind of electrifying ball running.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas, now he's kind of asked to, getting paid $1 million, you could do everything. So, yeah. So we'll see if he can recreate his career somewhere. But it's probably, there was talk about Gold Coast. So if he stays in Queensland, Gold Coast could be a spot. But
right.
Do you reckon that's the best fit for him?
No idea. I wouldn't be throwing big money at him, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Probably won't cost big money either, though.
Yeah, that might be a bargain.
I think it's a good buy.
Buy low and hope
potential is. He's still only, 25 or something.
Maybe he goes play fullback for the Dragons.
Say again?
You go play fullback for the Dragons. Go play with Anthony Griffin again.
I think we'll take Cody Ramsey off. Sorry, Mill.
Next story, Ivan Cleary in their return to Leichhardt. When was this game? Was this
Saturday? No, Friday night.
Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he was blowing kisses to the crowd. This year they were
cruel turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, the baby Panthers, they ended up losing that game. But what was the chant? Cleary's a wanker.
I think that's the exact words. Actually,
they fed him throughout most of the game, especially when they were in front, and then in full time they absolutely got stuck into him. West getting a one over Ivan after he left them hanging high and dry.
I love that. I think there might have been a few people that took it too far, but to get that, it's a Western Sydney rivalry. He kind of did dog the West Tigers to go coach his son at Penrith.
Yep.
They're just passionate fans, and he was copping it on the chin. He was having a laugh. But it was fun to see that whole bay just turning around and just getting fired the fuck up.
Yeah.
Also, if you're Ivan, you're kind of thinking, are you guys playing in the grand final this year? Probably not.
Are you making the 8 this year?
Probably not. Are we playing in the grand final? Probably. But it was good, I thought, for the atmosphere, and
it builds a bit of a rivalry between the clubs out west too. So
two premier Western Sydney clubs. I didn't mind it at all. Speaking of Western Sydney, Tim Sheens come back to be the head of football at the West Tigers. Was obviously the coach in 2005 when they won the comp with Benji. And coach of Raiders to their three premiership wins. He's been over in the UK, 756 first grade games coached.
I can't remember.
Unbelievable.
I can't remember if he's second or just ahead of Wayne. They're very close.
I feel like he'd be
it's those two, and it's a distance. Daylight to third.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like he might even be number one.
Yeah.
And hasn't had anything to do with coaching for a few years. So that'll be good, I think, for their culture over there. And Sean Johnson. Is there rumours? Well, obviously...
the halfback carousel continues. Sean Johnson is the biggest name still out there. Some chat that he may go to the Rabbits to then replace Adam Reynolds. Sharks are still circling. Raiders just need a halfback now. So,
mate, Sean Johnson is still good.
Yeah.
Look
healthy Sean Johnson is good.
Look at the Sharks this year. If you want to do some homework, some rugby league homework, look at the Sharks this year when they don't have SJ and when they do have SJ. Massive difference.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy that won the premiership with them in 2016. I know that's 5 years ago, but he's still got a lot to give, and I think he would be a real get for the Rabbits to fill the shoes. Look, are you giving the bloke a 5-year contract? Probably not. You give him 2?
Yeah, 2 and
another one. He's probably buy low. And reap the benefits after that.
And he was getting absolutely lowballed there at Cronulla. So, if he's someone that you can snap up for a little bit unders, I think he'd be a good buy.
And there was also chat.
Milk had wanted to circle him. Sure,
Yeah,
they definitely wanted him before he actually signed with Cronulla, and then they went the direction of George Williams at the time. So, definitely a chance there. And there was also chat about the Warriors. Maybe they buried the hatchet and actually realised they shouldn't have let him go in the first place.
Horrible
and come back
on their behalf. Yeah.
So whether he goes back to them.
Speaking of the Warriors,
and returning home, The Warriors are going to play in New Zealand in round 22 against the Doggies, which will be in a throwing contest.
Scintillating.
Scintillating. They have been in the Central Coast playing the last 2 seasons. It's been 716 days since the Warriors have last played in New Zealand. So it's been a long time.
Quick math,
Yeah.
I think that's nearly 2 years.
Yes.
Over 356. It's
Yes.
No,
Just over 2
365 it is.
oh, sorry, apologies. Just under 2 years.
It's
Sorry.
still, I think it's still
I'm
over
dyslexic.
No, that's
No, that'd be 732.
Anyway, not our strong point, not our strong point.
By the time they
Need to work
play,
with
it'll be
that
over
quick
2
maths.
years.
Yeah.
Nah, let's stop working on it because it's a shit part of this show.
Wayne Bennett, 869.
I'd say it's one.
He's one. And Tim Sheens will be 2.
869. That's
Nice.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I forgot he coached Canberra Raiders in 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne did. And then Tim.
I remember it well.
Tim was an assistant, I think, for Wayne at the time. From
532 games at the Broncos for Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And 0 comments. 532 presses where he said no comment.
Yeah.
Where he's
That's
mumbled and gone.
unbelievable.
Only 1 or 2 smiles in that entire career as well.
Oh,
So
I would have taken the unders.
let's go have a preview of this
have a
round
look,
of
yes.
NRL
Yeah.
games.
Run
So
through it.
first up is Manly versus North Queensland. I think there's chat that Tommy Turbo won't
Tommy,
back up.
yeah, yep.
His brother May.
Yep.
Both teams coming off buys. They're both at 6 and 6 at the moment. This is at Lottoland. Tom Deedon, his first game for the Cowboys.
Yep. Is DCE named?
Yep, he's made
Yes.
it 7.
That'll be
and-
interesting.
yeah,
to
Jake's
see.
I think
48-hour turnaround.
I think is Holmes and Felt as well. I think one of them might be out for the Cowboys.
Holmes is on the team list.
Felt at wing,
Uh,
maybe.
Not named. Not named.
Not
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Semantics. Manly win this game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. But then I remember how good this team was without Tommy Turbo, and then I
4.
yeah,
0-4.
and then I kind of start second guessing myself. But I'm pretty sure I still picked Manly in
Tip
this.
the Cowboys then.
Um,
Tip it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it.
do it.
Look,
We're gonna need
I'll do it
someone-
right now.
we're
I'll
gonna
pick
need-
Manly. Done.
We're going to need someone to break the curse.
Yeah, that's
Manly,
fair.
They're gonna lose
Manly
now.
by I should say 10.
Have you got the odds there, Jim, if you wouldn't mind?
Yep. So Manly are favourites $1.54. Cowboys are out at $2.50. Line is 4.5.
Manly minus the line. That sounds a bit juicy to me. Macca has gone for a peaback. He's tipped Manly.
Yes. So is that
So
4 Manly's for that?
Cowboys win.
Cronulla Penrith in the later game on Friday night down there at the temporary home of the Sharks, Netstrata Jubilee Stadium. The Baby Panthers, they copped their first L last week against the Tigers. A lot of us were kind of thinking, oh, maybe this is the game, but none of us were game to pick an upset. Ended up happening, and I tell you what,
Smashed them.
Penrith without their 7 best players look pretty ordinary, but West were pretty much full strength, other than Joe Offahan-Gowie. Obviously a different story when all the Panthers are back. The thing about this one, 48 hours after Origin, you wouldn't think Cleary backs up, given the state of his head.
Yeah, but I would say the report's out. There's no fractures or any damage. It was just knee stitches. It was just a cut, so he could possibly play.
No.
But I think he's the only one with question marks. Everyone else was good to go for this one.
Yeah, right. Regardless, I don't see him losing this game.
No, neither do I.
No.
I think a bit of a talking point on the Sharks side of things. So we've already spoken about SJ not wanted next year, and we had been speculating, but Josh Dugan and Aaron Woods have been given their marching orders from the Sharks.
No one's surprised.
That'll free up a lot of cap room next year. It looks like Fitzgibbon's going for a full rebuild. Next year aside, I don't see the Panthers losing this. I can't imagine anyone disagrees with me here.
No, I picked Panthers.
4 penny.
I don't know if we're doing odds this week or not, but I would love Cronulla at any kind of line over 7 or 8 points. I don't know.
Monks will let you know.
I've got a feeling 6 blokes backing up on a couple days break.
So
I don't know. Something tells me this is a close one. As Panthers win this by 97. But I'm telling you, I've got to read on this.
Yeah,
That's funny. The line's 96.5.
What are the odds, Max?
that's it. So regarding all the Origin reps, they're all being rested this week.
Ooh, so it
So
is
there you go, undermanned.
it is a baby
Undermanned.
Panthers.
Baby
Mm.
Panthers.
That'll be put into the lines and
Or Sharks, rather.
They're still favourites.
They are still favourites, $1.54. Sharks are out at $2.50. So exact same odds as the first game. Line is 5.5.
only one try. If it was over a try, I'd be very tempted. Penrith win.
I think there's a reason why they make it 5.5, and it's
Man,
converted.
it's mathematics. That is quick math.
It's like
a bit longer
research or
math.
something.
But no, Penrith for mine.
Rolling into Saturday, Gold Coast Titans take on the Sydney Roosters up there at Seabus Super Stadium. The Titans, they went very close to knocking off the Storm last week. You could say, oh, well, the Storm didn't have their Origin players, but there was 4 guys playing Origin for the Titans and 4 pretty
best
fucking handy players. Yeah.
Their entire forward pack.
Well, they went close to winning it. It was you said that Philip Sami, he tried to go the no look pass and he put it into about.
Watch it. That was the game. Oh, yeah.
There's no guarantee that his winger scores that, but geez, he put it in
Gives
about,
him a chance. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
he
was
put it about 4 rows back, didn't he?
It was a bad part. Yeah.
In terms of the Roosters, obviously been injury ravaged all year. Oh, and Jaden Campbell, we spoke about him, son of Preston.
Yep.
He made his debut last week. He looks wiry.
He's about a foot taller than his old man too.
He's taller. And look, from one wiry bloke to another wiry bloke.
Very interesting word.
Generous. All I was going to say, for a wiry bloke,
You're lanky, Peps. You're lanky. It's a hard
yeah, well,
lank.
I'm taller, so I'll take
true.
lanky, and he can be wiry. His defense, fuck, he was solid. He fucking also Nico Hines, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a big shot, wasn't it? Nico
and I think he
rocked.
made 11 tackles from fullback, so I think he'll be fine. Look, he's not going to be taking AJ Brimson's job anytime soon, but I think he'll be pushing for that first grade side. Can anyone see the Gold Coast winning this up there?
No, Storm by heaps here.
No, it was
Roosters by heaps here.
Same thing, really.
Roosters by
same,
heaps,
yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah, I've backed Roosters.
I've gone the Chooks here too. I tell you what, the turnaround for all those Titans players, again, 3 days for your feeders and your
Especially when it's all forwards too.
if I saw Malata wears,
Nice.
yeah. I've gone the Chooks. Have you gone the Chooks?
I have got the Chooks. They are favourites at $1.28.
Ooh, that's true.
Yeah. Gold Coast are out $3.75. Line is 11.5.
Well, I'd probably take that though.
Yeah.
That's not. That's bit of value.
They kept the Storm within a try. Like
Mate,
they
the
can do
Chooks are
that.
playing a reserve grade side every week. So
But in saying that, their reserve grade is pretty.
Could be a first grade.
Pretty shit hot.
we did say on the Esky a couple of weeks, or maybe last week, if they want to expand, you just play Melbourne reserves and Roosters reserves.
Yeah. The next game's got South versus Newcastle up at Stadium Australia. So South's coming off their bye. They had plenty of Origin players. Latrell being probably the biggest name and absolutely firing. Looks like Arrow and Gagai have not been named. Not unsurprising for that. But Jaden Sewer and Cameron Murray have been with Latrell. Knights were hammered by Para last week, and I don't think most of us will see Newcastle doing anything in this one.
Nah, South's for mine. Look, if Newcastle had Ponga and Pearce playing every week, it's maybe a different story. But yeah,
Safiti's got a backup for them too, as I think they're.
He was good last night.
He was good last
very
night.
good.
Yeah.
Scored a try. But South's for mine.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me if Gagai has been dropped after his performance last night. Not named, maybe not rested, but he had a stinker. Maybe.
Off tonsillitis, poor bloke.
Yeah.
Come on. South by heaps.
South Monkey
Yep, South.
odds.
Yep. Odds. They are heavy favourites at $1.15. Newcastle are out at $5.50. Line is 17.5.
That's a big line.
That's a big one. Oh, we get into the toilet bowl for the week, I think. The next game being Canberra versus Brisbane here in the nation's capital. The Broncos just gave up a 50 burger to the Dragons. A psycho's been dropped. As mentioned, Herbie Farnworth is in at fullback. Tony Staggs has been cleared to return, but he's copped a 2-week ban for a drunken incident, I think about a month ago. So he's still out, but that gives a chance for Carmichael Hunt to come into the team, and he's going to play 6.
Huge
For
massive,
him.
isn't it?
First time he's played NRL in 12 years,
12 years.
I think.
Oh,
So,
that's crazy. Hey, that's
Fucking A,
so far. That.
yeah.
Some players' career of 12 years.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
And, he's played 2 different sports in that time frame and come back. So, yeah, all to him. I'm not sure how much he's going to give to
What a
Brisbane.
life he's lived. God.
Not a bad looking rooster either.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he brings some of that leadership that they probably need at the moment?
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I've loved Albert Kelly, what he's been doing since they brought him in.
And I've liked the intensity that Gamble has brought as well, but, they're still not strike power, and the whole club's struggling at this point, so we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, if they get something out of Carmichael, then, I don't want to say he's on his last legs, but he's towards the back end of his career.
I will definitely say he's on his last leg.
Yeah, if they can get a couple good games or a year out of him, then they'll take it.
Carmichael. Hell of a name.
K Hunt.
K Hunt.
Yes.
I think it was Dennis Cometti got in a lot of trouble with the old K Hunt.
Yeah.
On the Gold Coast Suns.
You don't want to say that one.
It's a
too
terrible
quickly.
combo. Gold Coast Suns, Carmichael Hunt.
Yes.
We'll leave that one for the after hours show, I think.
On the Esky, uncut.
Yes.
Well, I got in trouble for swearing by my old man on the Esky, so I am
and
trying.
I've noticed. Shout out to Paddy if you're still with us. You've really toned it down.
I am trying very hard not to swear. I don't realise how casually I do it in conversation.
Wait till we get to the AFL, and we'll see how we go.
The Bulldogs won. The Bulldogs lost, and I'm sorry, Dad. You'll have to listen next week.
Last week was a different.
It
story.
was, exactly.
What do we think of this game? I've put a note here that I think both teams will suck, and this could be a draw.
The old 0-0 special.
Yes.
I think down here in freezing Canberra, sorry, buddy, it's been fucking freezing this whole week. I think the Raiders do them here. The Brisbane, they just look like a shell of a side. They got 50 put on them by the Dragons, who my own love heart eyes aside are a pretty ordinary side.
Yeah, they're not a top 8 side.
Aren't
so-
they? And if you're giving that up, it could be danger down here.
Yeah, you'd think Canberra's got a better roster at this point than them, but
Yeah, I've gone the Raiders here.
this will be close. So maybe like 16-12. I think I've backed the Raiders as well.
I'm going upset.
Brisbane.
I
down
reckon
here?
Brisbane win this. Like
Good
Raiders have blokes in Kokomos, want to get back to England, only getting as far as the Gold Coast.
Yeah, they're
Raiders are in shambles. They hate Sticky. Players missos on Instagram blowing up. Broncos come down here, cause an upset.
I've got something here, I think. Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take where George Williams wants to play on a nice beach place.
Give us a week. Give us 7 more days. Perhaps I'll have something a little bit better, I'm hoping.
Bugs, who are you picking?
I've backed the Raiders in. They are
3-1.
favourites, $1.39.
3-1. That's short. That's short.
Yeah, it's probably too short for where these two clubs are.
Broncos win that.
Yeah. Well, if you want to bet on them, they're $3.
What's the line?
Line is 8.5.
There you go.
So Carmichael is 34 years old. Debuted back in 2004.
He was 18.
Yep. So
Just turned 18 as well.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, as a comparison, retired at 36, 37.
So you got 3 good years in him.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out after this weekend.
So you've got there 126 games for the Brisbane Broncos back in the day. How many games of rugby union and AFL has he played since then?
So rugby union, he played 89.
89, 6 tests.
6 tests.
And doesn't even have his
Got
AFL,
AFL
games.
stats, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Did he play 3 years for the Suns?
2 maybe?
I think it was only 2, yeah.
Yeah.
He ended up being
He's
like
actually
the
quite
first
good.
pick. Yeah, he did all right.
I think he played footy growing up.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
So say in the vicinity of maybe 40 to 50 games.
No, much. It's about 30, I reckon.
44
But, yeah.
games.
44. So that's two full
40,
seasons
very
there.
close.
Yeah. That's 2 full seasons.
Yeah, so he played from 2011 through 2014.
So it was 3 years.
He
That's 40
the goal
years
after the
inclusive.
siren against Richmond, like that's every schoolboy's
Yeah.
dream. And Carmichael Hunt, he has literally done everything. He's literally done everything, and twice. And he's
Good
come
on
on the
him.
way back around.
Yeah. So and then he's played Japanese rugby as well, besides rugby here in Australia. And I think he probably played in France at some point too, from memory. Did he play for Catalans? He might have. Anyway, long career for him. That's probably enough on Canberra versus Brisbane. Let's talk about Warriors versus Melbourne. That's at Central Coast Stadium. Warriors are coming off their bye. Storm, of course, beating the Titans 2014. What are we thinking in this one?
Yeah, it was probably the first time in 2 months that the Storm looked vulnerable. They still won.
Still got a good squad.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah.
I don't think Munster and Grant will back up for this.
No,
Yeah.
why risk him?
Well, they didn't risk him leading up, so you doubt they
Yeah.
risk him. 2 games in a week.
They are
after.
listed. So
Do they have an extended bench?
No.
Shit.
Grant is on the bench. Cam is starting 6.
Yeah, the cheese.
Yeah, they might play 40-40 or something like that. Or Grant plays 20.
I don't think it matters.
No, they're
No,
going
no,
to
no.
I think their depth is fine. We saw them
Oh, yeah.
like undermanned, and like when you got guys like Nico Hines and the shredded cheese. He's not the hectic cheese anymore.
He's the mozzarella.
He's a shredded cheese. Mozzarella, baby. Mozzarella. Jerome Hughes, I think they'll be fine. I think they win this game pretty comfortably.
Yeah. 4 Melbournes. Odds, Muggy, are they short?
4 Melbournes. Pretty short. $1.18. Warriors out at $5. Lions 14.5.
It's not so bad. 13 plus again for the Storm.
Rolling into Sunday afternoon, Parramatta take on the West Tigers out there at Bankwest Stadium. The Knights the Eels somewhat surprisingly only lost one player to Origin in Junior Paulo, and it showed last week. They absolutely towed up the Newcastle Knights. And West, as we spoke about, gave Penrith their first loss. A little bit of a Cleary's a wanker chat after that. There was a penalty try awarded in that game to Luciana Leilua. He copped one across the chops. He was busting over. To be honest, I don't think we need to deliberate that much. Didn't change the outcome of the game. No. Thoughts here, boys? I think Parramatta do this quite comfortably.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, again, last week they pumped the shit out of Newcastle with their full strength team. Like a bit like we said, didn't prove anything. Of course,
Nah.
it was either
Yep.
do that or like it was a lose situation for Para. Really,
Yeah,
They had
I tend to
They got to
agree.
pump these teams.
I would still hang the fraud tag on Para. They haven't done anything really.
Yeah.
I mean, 10-3, obviously very good. They are a top 4 team
course,
at the moment,
of course.
but still, when it comes to finals footy, I can see them being bounced out straight sets.
Yep.
Monksy, Eels, and can you give us some odds?
Yeah, I've got Eels there. Again, they are favourites, $1.27. Tigers are out at $4. Lions 11.5.
Ooh. Too much for them.
No.
All right, the game of the round.
Well,
Absolute stink game.
Geez, 1-12 looks bad.
Doesn't it? Yeah,
12 looks
next to each
so
other, it
bad.
does look-
Gee
yeah.
whiz.
So we're talking
Not
about
great.
Canterbury Bulldogs taking on the St. George Dragons.
St. George
Illawarra Dragons. That shit team out of Wollongong.
slash Cogger.
Yeah. Yes.
Not that shit.
We've already talked a little bit about
top
the,
8.
yeah.
Where's your 2 shit teams?
Have they combined for 6 wins?
I think they're at 7. 5 minutes ago, he was saying they weren't a top 8 squad, so he's changed his tune. Well, I think we talked about Duffman.
Yeah.
Corey Norman bagged what he got 8 from 9.
Yeah, well, we were bagging up, and
Well, I think you bagged him.
I
for
brought it up. And I thought his goal kicking
needed a bit of something.
left a bit to desire, but he was fucking putting him over the black dot last weekend. And
I don't think he had any challenging ones. It's probably helped him as well.
oh no, he had a couple. He had a couple from the sideline. Yeah, thoughts here. Dragons win big time. I would have thought.
I'd say Dragons are definitely going to win. I don't think the Doggies got anything to shock them with.
Mate, if only there was a draft, because that'd be getting the number 1 pick.
Yes. yeah, tank for whatever that would be. Yeah, I think we've got 4 Dragons here.
Yep, 4 Dragons.
Do the odds reflect that?
Yep, odds definitely reflect that. So Dragons are favourites $1.20. Bulldogs are out at $4.50. Line is 13.5.
Jeez, couple double-digit lines this week.
Yeah. I tell
So
you
heavy
what,
favourites as well.
yeah.
Come Origin time, weird things always happen though. Like
That's true,
players
that
are
is
sore,
true.
backing up, buys, resting. There's always some weird things to pop up, but can rebooting St George won't be one.
No, I don't think so either.
Probably
And
not.
that, I think, we'll do NRL for this week, round 14 preview. Let's look at round 13, I believe, for the AFL.
Correct.
And do you want to talk quickly about Thursday night football that is currently happening in
Yeah.
Adelaide?
Well, it's been an absolute
unfolding
ripper of a
before our
game that's been
eyes.
unfolding, and we haven't really touched on it yet. But it's obviously the return of Patrick Dangerfield. Sort of the battle of that team in the next tier down for mine. That Port and Geelong really in the same sort of position.
Yeah, yep.
In Adelaide, it's currently 8 goals 250, plays 8 goals 553. Geelong have that lead. And we sort of put the game on just at quarter time. Connor Rosie, absolute young gun from Port Adelaide, kicked 4 goals in the first
Did he
quarter.
really?
4 in the first quarter. So
Yeah, right.
insane stuff from him. Tommy Hawkins, I think he's kicked 4 of his own.
Yeah.
Danger's been back. Parfitt's just snapped a goal. That's a rip
That's
snorter.
in. Yeah,
Gee whiz,
that's
that's
in.
good television. That's a ripping goal. Geelong go up 59-50. And I really, I think Bulldogs and Melbourne have proved that they're the 2 best teams.
Yeah.
Melbourne obviously the best at the moment. And I'd put these 2 teams just underneath them
Tier
a
2.
little bit. Yeah, tier 2. So Port at home want something to prove. Need to sort of win this game. Geelong's team is stacked. And I read a stat before. First team in AFL history to have 10 blokes over the age of 30.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So Geelong,
Old list.
we've talked about their list, what they do. It's not about the draft; it's about topping up and continually topping up. Guys like Sean Higgins, Dangerfield, and the like there. So it's win now for Geelong, but it always seems to be fucking win now. Oh damn!
And
I
they've
said the F word 56 minutes in. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Paddy.
And it was as soon as we brought the AFL up.
There we go.
It was as soon as we got the AFL up. But
Definitely
no.
didn't learn it from him.
no.
No, I certainly didn't. Great man himself.
I want to say that Geelong did roll back into this game. It was 50-30 towards the
Yeah,
end
it
of
was,
the
yeah,
half
that-
time
Yeah.
there, and I think they scored 4 quick ones to get them straight back into this.
It's been a ripper just to have
yeah.
on as we've been watching. We've got the cricket on one screen and the footy on the
Yeah,
other,
good.
so it's good.
It's
Thursday
good.
night footy's all time,
Oh,
absolute all time.
So, hands on hearts, who did we all pick?
I'm pretty sure I went Port in Adelaide.
I went Port, hand on heart.
Yes, I did.
They hard to split. I just thought the home field advantage, but
I agree with you on that.
Very difficult.
Hand on heart, tip Geelong just with the Dangerfield going back in.
Massive.
Oh god, just a casual Brownlow medalist that you get to drop back in your team, a team that's going along very nicely at the moment. Monks, who did you?
Desmond's?
Yeah, hand on heart, I had Geelong.
Hey.
Desmond.
Did not get the
Desmond
tip in
Tutu.
those, so we'll see how that goes.
You get away side, so I think you get Geelong.
Yeah.
See, muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
So let's get
Roll
stuck
into
into
some
some AFL news, yes. And I think the big one to start off with is Collingwood, as always. Those Pies, Nathan Buckley, their head coach, has decided to step down.
Did he decide?
Step down's very interesting. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference. He sort of like
I saw him get stuck in the media a bit about they're asking him like, will you push or shove? And he's like, I don't do your job for you. You write the headline.
It's good.
Is what they were asking.
He's always been very good with the media. Like he's a bit of a smart ass. He's quite arrogant the way he talks to journos. He's got 30
years worth of being in front of the
Yeah,
media
it's
as a
insane.
And good on him, too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, a little bit like that. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, the off the field crap that's come into it now, the Polaroid stuff, the middle page of the paper instead of the back page. So that kind of yucky stuff's come into it. But I think I didn't realize this is his 10th year as coach of Collingwood. That was honestly so shocking. I went, God, I'm getting old.
217 games.
I still picture him socks up, running up, like just busting tackles and kicking 60-meter bombs.
What we grew up with.
That's
really.
my Nathan Buckley. I still have the player Nathan Buckley in my mind. He's just finished up as a coach, and it is step down, but it's a weird one. I don't know. They clearly think they're in a rebuild situation, but I've said in the last couple of weeks, I don't think this is a full rebuild. I think this is just a bad season.
Yeah, I don't think the list is bad at all.
I think I think it. But he obviously, whatever, the energy, the time. We've talked about what a head coach of any sport goes through, let alone an athlete. He's done. He's transitioned from captain of the most famous club in Australia to the coach of the famous club in Australia. So the last 25 years of his life have just been the biggest face. And
do you think that with all the other turmoil that's happening with the board and the head of the entire club and all that other shit, do you think he's just going, I'm sick of this?
Yeah.
And it's like I've done this for the last 30 years. I might do something else for a little while, and then maybe I'll go back into coaching of another club.
I don't know if it played a massive part, but you can't say it played no part. Like, he was definitely Eddie's boy. Like, the whole Malthouse won a flag and was out with 2 years after that. So that was how desperate they wanted to keep Buckley on, and so much that Malthouse went into their biggest rival to be the coach. Like, so because around that, just after that 2010 flag, 2011 flag, Buckley was getting offers from all over the place for coaches, but they wanted him so badly. They said, all right, you will be coach here, just be an assistant for a little bit, because you are a Collingwood man through and through. We want you here, and it's probably the biggest Collingwood name ever, and like Scott Pendlebury came out saying he was numb. He was so shocked at it, and this is a guy who played his first game with Buckley. And has spent his whole captaincy with Buckley there. I think he's going to break Buckley's record for games captain. Him, Tony Shaw, and Buckley are the three. So this man has been Collingwood. He's been the face of Collingwood. So I don't know, to Sean's point, if they are doing a full blown clean out, they want absolutely everyone out the door, and just the big reset button. But
they're the two. Top positions. They're the two kind of faces of the franchise, and they've both, one's got booted for other reasons, and the others, for whatever reason, has stepped down. But that changes the whole complexion of what your club is and the focus. New ideas, new people come in. They always want to get their guys, their list, etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's big changes coming to Collingwood.
And it just seems it's been Collingwood non-stop. Like, every week we've got a new thing about Collingwood, and we have said it's Collingwood. They are the punching bag. It's what they may be the wealthiest. When Collingwood are going good, it's the most annoying thing in the world, because Collingwood fans are so bloody annoying. Cool. But I don't know. Like, he clearly was, like, he's the type of guy, if he was in it, he's all in, 100%. I'm going to buy into this. If he would know, I'm not 100% in on this, to the point where he's got a game in 4 days time, and then he's done. So when I initially saw it, I thought, is this a bit of a farewell tour for Bucks into the season? It's no, this is it.
Yeah,
this is his last game, and it's absolutely shattering. This game, isn't it? The MCG, one for it's a big freeze, and everything that builds around that. You throw in Nathan Buckley's last game as coach, and you'd have a really good game of footy, and a crowd that would be absolutely berserk. So, I think it just seems to be strange times down at Collingwood. I don't hate seeing them in turmoil.
No one does. I think
it's very hard to see where they'll actually go from here as well.
Yeah.
We've got the note there. I think is that Robert Harvey will be the caretaker after he steps down. But
350 games just about for St Kilda. Obviously,
back-to-back Brownlows,
decorated player.
And very highly rated around the circles. The key is, if he wants to be a head coach, you can get one, I think. But he's loving the assistant coach sort of gig.
Would you want to step straight into that gig, knowing that you probably don't have a president at this point?
What we're saying, like, where the position that club is at, like, he's got he can do a lot of good here. If he gets 5-6 wins on the way in, they give him a job.
Massive.
And again, next year they get everyone healthy back. You throw in the number one draft pick. This team is not in the good. This team is not North Melbourne, who have 5-6 years of crap ahead of them. This team's it's going to be a really quick bounce back. Similar to what Sydney have gone through. It was 2 years of good. Sydney are off the radar. Bang, they're back into 6th on the ladder or 7th on the ladder. So,
if I was a guy looking for a head coach position, I'd probably want a president in there that's in a concrete position before I made that decision.
Yeah, that extra stuff is yes, it's. But it's very Collingwood to have this argument, and it just seems like a reason to talk about Collingwood with more, which we friggin' do, because it's bloody Collingwood. But from one head coach who's copped some heat and gone to another one who's possibly on the stove. Peps, I'll let you take the reins with this one, because it's a little bit close to your heart.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Carlton Blues here. David Teague, a lot of external pressure at the moment. The assistant coach John Barker, he resigned. Was his hand
It seemed to be a bit of a push job here. I think they
Seemed like
could.
it.
Yeah.
So
Like
is the question like, is he the scapegoat, or is this kind of the start of the falling off the cliff for the rest of the coaching staff?
They've underperformed. The list that they've got, and we spoke about it last week, and I was optimistic. I thought they go out here and they beat West Coast this weekend.
What happened in the fourth quarter?
Well,
It wasn't
Carlton
the fourth
happened.
quarter. It was just the whole game. It was just the whole game.
It was
It was
true,
just
yeah.
the whole game.
But it was that gap. They just seemed to
The
be.
typical 4 goal.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't been blown out this year. They haven't lost by more than 5 goals. That's great. Like you're competitive, but they've lost 8 games now by less than 5 goals. So you kind of
Can't finish it.
Yeah. There's a bit of that comes into it. All this heat on Teague, is it all his fault? No, I don't believe so. And he's halfway through a 3-year contract.
You can't. I like.
But why is he the scapegoat? Why should he be the scapegoat?
It seems to be a mentality thing, and if it is above the shoulder thing, that's on the coach, because an AFL player is an AFL player. Your skills are varied.
Sure.
But if you can motivate a group to go, but this is me speculating from a mate's living room. Like I'm not a psychologist or anything, but it seems to be.
You might need one to break this down.
Actually, that's actually such a good point, because the players on paper are good. They're not getting blown out, like you say. They've got the Coleman, the reigning, the guy leading the Coleman medal at the moment. They've got Sam Walsh and Patrick Cripps, who could both be Brownlow medalists in their career. Jacob Wiedering's become one of the best tall defenders in the competition.
They might have 2 All-Australian backs.
Exactly right. So, there's a lot of good at the moment, and yet it just doesn't translate into wins. So do you then throw it in the bin and get rid of Teague, or put the pressure on Teague? It seems like he's doing a lot of good.
Yep.
But the focus isn't on that good when the wins aren't coming.
Yeah, indeed.
And that could be the question of, maybe he's not the one to put him over the top. And generally, a team or a club, their mentality is a direct reflection of what the coach instills in them. So there is it's surprising the amount.
I'm going to disagree.
Exactly. I don't think he's not instilling good. Like we've got the fact there. Like Brendan Bolton, who seemed to be this great players coach and sort of got a bit of benefit of the doubt. We've got there. His record was 16 and 61 in 77 games.
That's right. So Teague has won more games than Brendan Bolton did
in 37 less games.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. So. And for whatever reason, Bolton had this aura of maybe coming from Hawthorn, sort of he'll get it clicking. Don't worry, he's that fun-loving guy. And
in Bolton's defence, possibly the list has matured a little bit better. They've probably got more.
A lot of these guys came in under Bolton.
They've got more cattle to work with now than they did when Bolton was there. But I just don't know. And
you're a fan. You're a fan. Do you like David Teague as coach?
I think the thing
wasn't a quick yes.
Exactly. But that's kind of what he is. He is you don't go, he's our coach, but yes, good. Like you go down the list of like Simon Goodwin at Melbourne, yes, he's our coach. Luke Beveridge, yes. Ken Hinkley at Port Adelaide, absolutely.
I think a lot of the thing that irks people is it seems, and this is from the outside looking in, the lack of interest in terms of when they're losing. There's no the body language, it's kind of like, and maybe that's just Teague as a person.
Well, those are the habits.
But there's no passion, there's no shouting, there's no screaming. It's just the leg across the lap, just kind of, okay, this is what we're used to, kind of thing.
So
that comes back to your point about the coach is leading that culture in the team, and
it's like it's expected, like we'll go close, but we won't win.
Yeah, 4 goals. Oh, they only went down by 4 goals. But how many times can you go down by 4 goals?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and so instead of getting stuck in them like, hey, that's crap, it might be like, oh, we did pretty good, we just couldn't get over the edge. It's just that mentality. Like, how does that get coached into it? So, quick question for you. As a hypothetical, Barkley's now on the market. Would you make the switch to him?
I wouldn't think he's on the market, though. I think he's... Hypothetical. We are living hypothetical.
Yeah. He's leaving Collingwood. He's available.
He is a free agent.
He's free agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I also think he said he wants to focus on his family.
Agree. But would you make the change to someone like that?
I hate this. I hate this week by week scrutiny. I think he's contracted to the end of next year. Let him go. Brendan Bolton got a long run. And possibly with a few blokes coming back from injury next year, possibly. But it's the same shit. It's the same shit as a Carlton fan. It's next year.
Which I think adds to the heat because they gave Brendan Bolton so much. You know, oh well, maybe next year. So maybe this time they want to go. No, bugger it. We gave the last guy legs. You're on your last leg now. You're out at the end of the. I don't think this will be a situation where Teague's out because last time they fired a bloke mid-season, you know, the bloke they brought in did pretty well. Indeed. Who is David Teague? Exactly. So to earn himself another gig, so that it nearly, you know, if he isn't the man, it kind of could Carlton because he forced their hand. They had to hire this bloke. He got that list to win that game. So, but I don't know. I'm with you, Pep. Like they signed with this deal. Like he's 6 games under, like, you know, the 50-50 record. So, I understand
40 games. Like
the frustration of the 4-goal loss would 100% add up because if there's a blowout, you can make sweeping changes and cut blokes and put a message out there. 4 goals, you know, if you drop it, start playing.
They're on 4 goals.
Yeah, there and thereabouts.
And it's not like they can take a big scale because we've talked about their draw. They should now go on a run and win games. So the pressure turns up because if he loses a game against Gold Coast or if he loses a game against, you know, whoever's around them, they get now you get in that sticky situation where, well, you're not only losing games, but now you're losing games you're supposed to win.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's a bit of up in the air. But I agree. I think, like, I don't know, every time the board says we're fully behind a coach, that's pretty much their death sentence.
Exactly.
So you don't need the board to say that, but you'd love for a
board always tells the truth.
Yeah, you'd love for a Patrick Cripps to come out and say, oh, we love David Teague. Or, you know, Sam Walsh saying, oh, you know, I've grown as a player under David Teague.
Yeah, but as soon as you start asking those questions, you're asking questions about, hey, what do you think about him? And
but coming back,
it puts it in the mind. Like it starts
coming back to Buckley.
Cracks start to make.
Coming back to Buckley, after they won that game last weekend, I think he had full support of the players. I think they were all fucking.
They're shocked about this. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and look, I don't want to put him in the same boat, Buckley and Teague. But maybe it's the same thing. Like a lot of it is external. It's, you know, we've got members, we need results. We got shareholders, and a lot of it comes from outside. And as a player, you're going, I like this bloke.
That means nothing to me. Yeah, exactly right. Like I would play. Yeah, exactly. I want to play for this bloke. I want to jump on a ball.
Indeed.
But then it's all right. Show that.
Yeah.
Show that in the, you know, why do you die at the last quarter? If this bloke does mean that much to you,
that's right.
Then you would throw it. So again,
yes.
but that's coming from, again, it's always coming from outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Professional sports has always been, you know, the not for long kind of leagues,
isn't it? Who'd want to be a coach?
Yeah, it's what have you done lately for me? Have you won games? Have you won flags and things like that? If you haven't,
there's
like
such a shit place to go.
because one team wins. One team wins at the end of the season. Like, but like Sean's absolutely correct. It is that, and it's that
results get you
pressure.
Sponsorships. Results get you big players. They get you all the other things that you need, your money, etc., etc. That's what the clubs are all about.
And like Carlton are no place to be picky and decide. You know what, we want this. We expect this. No. They haven't won a final for 30 years. Like, you know, close to 30 years. So don't.
No, they won the 95. So 26.
Close to 30. We're getting old, Tone. I'm telling you, mate.
That's the grand final they won. So,
you were 5.
Great. That's what I mean. But, you know, like the Judd years. The Judd.
Yep.
And, you know, the chat's come out. They've probably lost the Judd trade. You know, they brought Chris Judd across, but Josh Kennedy's out to be one of the best forwards of the modern era. You know, like little things like that. Like, they're in no position to be picky, and you know, they're not at Richmond right now where they can pick and choose with little things like that.
Mate, they're not in Essendon.
17 wins out of your last 40 games. Yeah. They need to be happy with that because the last 15 years hasn't been up to standard. So,
yes.
I think, just again, with the Buckley stuff, hopefully David Teague, he's the happiest man in the AFL because he goes, no one's going to be talking about me. No one's going to be talking about Collingwood and what they're going to be doing next. I can just go about my business.
Take that spotlight and point it over there.
Shift it, a little bit to the east.
Let's talk about the Crom.
The Crom.
They were fined $50,000 for COVID breaches. I'm not sure if you've seen the pictures. I think one of them was a Tex. They weren't wearing their mask properly on a commercial flight back to Adelaide. It was either not at all or it's a bit more of a chin strap. So they got fined for not wearing their face mask correctly.
You've seen what happens on these flights, right? So you're meant to put your mask on, and then this is your captain speaking. We will now be serving your lunchtime meal. And then everyone takes their fucking mask off and eats their food and drinks their $13 beer. And they go, yeah, no worries. Fuck off. Like, this is so dumb. Like, you don't need to get me going on the ridiculousness that is the people that make the COVID rules and the people, the servants, if you will. Oh, thank you, almighty fucking COVID master. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to get stuck into the snitches on the plane, buddy, taking photos and posting on social media.
Jesus Christ.
That's 50. Yeah, what's that? 50 grand to the AFL. That'll pay for their Christmas party or something.
Yeah,
Everyone on
that's
the ball.
right.
Gillan McLaughlin's going, you guilty. You can book out somewhere. We'll book out the Crown. Thanks, Adelaide.
Sometimes...
And Adelaide, 50 grand, whatever.
Sometimes you look in your wallet, you're like, Jesus, fucking a lot of 5 cents in here, fucking weighing us down.
That's the fine from the Crom. That's what the Crom fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing, and it's the reason it's the last bit of news we'll talk about because you're right,
it's
Peps,
garbage.
It is
That's
such
why.
It's just silly.
garbage, and we're going to look back in this crap in 10 years' time. We go, whatever. Look, to be honest, on a plane, you probably should be wearing a mask. There's a lot of strangers around, but for this to be happening, you're going to catch a bus or a train.
When the food gets served, you leave it on.
Yeah,
You're right. We
lift
could.
it up and sneak it in. Yeah.
We're not going to get stuck on this. Because
Peps, do you wanna say the
because
last point?
Peps will get upset.
Last one on the list there. Go for it.
The strong point here is, look, the Crom doesn't get COVID. This is an old Chuck Norris joke. The COVID gets the Crom.
Peps says jumped on board the Crom like no one else.
I'm pretty close. David Teague, win a game or otherwise I'm on the Crom.
I'm adding some yellow and red to this navy colour. Crow Crom.
With that, we'll do round 13 preview.
Let's have a look at the games.
We've talked about Thursday.
Nice cold beverage?
I'm good at the moment.
Go.
I'm good at the moment. I'm quite up. And we sort of talked about the Friday night game. The current score is 62-57, Geelong lead, and it sort of tightened up here in the third quarter. It looks a bit slippery. I don't know if they've got some rain or it's just a Friday night dew in Adelaide. But yeah, good game of footy, good contest going on at the moment. I just love Thursday night footy. I just wanted to add that. Like it just, I think it.
Nice, isn't
I kind of like that it's not a permanent fixture though. Like it ran. Like I just went, oh, this is tonight when I was putting my tips in. Like I kind of like that it's. If you do it 15 out of 23 weeks, I actually don't mind that rather than having
the
that.
Losers, it's
Kind of if it's there every week, you don't watch it, but then you're like, oh, there's a game of footy on. How good.
Plus, especially when you schedule it on a Thursday night that doesn't have an NRL game on as well.
Oh, it's all eyes. I actually do because, and there was some crap chat. And going back to Collingwood as everything happens, Eddie Maguire was on AFL 360 last night talking about Buckley and everything, and and everyone was saying, this is bullshit. You're doing it because Origin's on. You're just trying to get some more eyes on there. But whatever, for whatever reason, that happens. But absolutely, they are in an ongoing battle. So I think it 100% is a hit back. People are wanting to watch sport at the moment. You're like, oh yeah, absolutely, there's a game of footy on. But yeah, Gary Rowan just kicks a goal and Geelong go up by 11 points. Quick math.
11, confirm.
11. No Saturday afternoon footy with the buys going on. So a fresh set of teams have their bye week. 18 teams is very good symmetry. Like it just makes
nice,
stuff like
it?
this.
Nice
like if we talk about the NFL is all 32 teams is perfect. Divided by,
but
8 divisions of 4.
17 games.
Yeah.
You just want a bit of symmetry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll get to
But in tomorrow night,
Stinky.
it's a bit of a stinker. At the SCG, Sydney host Hawthorn. Swanee's coming off that win against St Kilda, and they had to dig in tough.
The good St Kilda rocked up.
The good, well, they did, and I think we all sort of talked about, this was a game Saints probably thought they could just turn it on and flick the switch, and a young Sydney team probably would fall away and go down, but it is still those older blokes. So Callum Mills, who's not old, but a veteran. Isaac Heaney, the Bud. This is a good Lance Franklin we're seeing. Like 1,000 goals is a genuine reality.
He might get it this year.
Josh Kenny had a bit of a quiet game, but Luke Parker is turning on. He's having a great season. Kennedy actually signed on for an extra year. Yeah, so he's, I don't know, Monks, I'll put you on the spot. Can you find Josh Kennedy from City Swans age? He'd be 33, I reckon. And
32,
and a big-bodied midfield. He's taking some bumps. He's taking some hits.
Former Hawk as well.
His granddad was obviously one of the greatest AFL, one of the greatest Hawthorn people of all time. And, they didn't really want him. Sydney got him on the cheap. He's won a flag. Got Norm Smith votes in a losing grand final against the Bulldogs. But...
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hawthorn
270 games, 300 is very well inside. Hawks are just, whatever.
yeah, coming off a bye.
They're North Melbourne, if you just turn the contrast down the TV. Same jersey, the white and blue
There you
turns to
go.
brown and
50
gold.
to 30.
This is a chance for Sydney to actually, they've been surprising teams. Now they're the big favourite, and I'm sure Monk will tell us that they are big favourites. Let's see what these young kids can really do. Let's see Isaac Heaney kick 6 goals. Let's see some, Callum Mills really dominate. Let's get Logan McDonald a bag. They'll be looking for these young guys and really
go out
them.
and do it on the scoreboard. I don't think Sydney's really done that.
They're not a team to pump team. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Just go out and just annihilate them.
Yeah, watch if
Big day from
if
Bobby.
I was a betting man, which I am. Logan McDonald, 3 or 4 goals. I reckon they look to get the young guy really involved.
I like that.
So it sounds like you're picking Swans. I've got
Oh, by
Swans as
heaps.
well.
Swans here.
Swans by heaps.
by a bit.
Odds,
yeah.
Max?
Yep, I've gone Swans as well. Odds are they are favourites $1.15. Hawthorn are out at $5.50.
Line?
Anyone want to guess the line?
I didn't listen to the
This
odds.
game again.
27 and a half.
Nah, 31 and a half.
30-ish.
Did you? Yeah, 31.5.
Oh, Pepsi.
Stupid game.
Josh Kennedy is 32 years old, and he's got a bit of a rig on him as well.
Fucking oath it does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Handsome gentleman. We saw him at Big Day Out one year, and shout out Leanna Potter. She put him on her shoulders.
Leanna Potter, if you're listening. I'm sure you
Who
are.
would you think Leanna would ever get a shout on the Esky? She did.
Yeah, there you go.
Put Josh Kennedy on his shoulders. So
Good on you.
there's that chat. Going into one of the game like this, AFL is a pretty popular sport in Australia. Like, would you agree? It's probably the popularst,
I
about
think it's the most popular in terms of
eyes on telly,
members.
money going into it. Fremantle versus Gold Coast at 4:15 on Saturday. I honestly think there'll be more people down at Tuggeranong Hyperdome. Now South Point, actually.
Yes.
This is the most non-event of a game, and it's quite tragic because it's got double Brownlow
Wait till we
medalist.
talk about North and GWS.
Nat 5. I've got some thoughts on that game, but
Got to get past Saints and Crom.
Nat 5. Look, shout out to our AFL fans. It's a stinker this week. The dogs are off, so no one really cares about the footy this weekend. Look,
So I think the big one for this is Rowell.
Rowell indeed.
Rowell.
Rowell, as he's known around most common people. Rowell will go well, hopefully.
Well by name, bro. Well by nature.
Again, Nat 5's playing this game. He's a 2-time Brownlow medalist.
Yes.
Matt Rowell should hopefully play. Thank God he's back.
He's back. I
He
think
is the
that's
key to
big
making
one,
Gold Coast watchable.
Yeah.
Yes.
However, this game is just not watchable. Freo coming off that loss against the Dogs. They were really good, but they were just actually Fife won't be playing because they got effing smoked with injuries. They had
Paddy.
I think they finished with 17 on the field. They had to use their sub. They were going down in numbers. It was a really physical, wet game in Perth, and I was just one of those games. I said, just blow the siren. I don't want any injuries because they were all happening to Freo. It was insane. So that they're this is a game Gold Coast could genuinely win. It's
You reckon?
actually, I'm tipping Gold Coast. I'm tipping
think
Gold
so.
Coast.
I've gone Dockers.
I've gone Freo as well, but I think that
They were banged up.
the odds here are ridiculous.
They'd be close.
I
This
think
would be
they'd be
real
close.
tight. This would be evens nearly.
I think it's very close.
I've gone Freo purely just because it's in WA. I've got
Longest
no
trip we've
confidence.
worked out in the comp, but
Yep.
this I'm going the upset. Well, maybe not.
So Freo.
it's favourites.
Well, whoever
Yeah.
the odds are, is the upset. It can't
What's
be an
the-
upset
what's
if you're
the
a
odds?
favourite. Like, come on, what are we doing here?
Mark, give us some odds.
No, keep them rolling on.
This is good content.
Suns are favourites $1.81.
So I didn't tip the upset. I tipped the favourite. See?
That's what I said.
Frio's at $2.04.
That tells you how Freo are going if Gold Coast
What's that?
Yeah.
Is that 6 points?
2.5.
They'd be very close.
1.5.
1.5. Wow.
Yeah.
Very short. Close one.
Moving into the Saturday night game.
We're picking the Crom.
The St Kilda Saints take on the might that is the Crom of South Australia. They're
Shout
up-
out Gilligan's Hotel. They'll be hosting the after
Yeah, the
party.
after
This
party
one's up
up
in
there.
Sweaty Cairns.
Yeah, the swamp. Some
Up in the
have
swamp.
referred to.
Up in the swamp. Saints are
Kazali
Saturday.
Stadium up there in Cairns. You have to take in the weather into account. can't imagine it favours one team or the other.
No.
The Saints, we did mention the good Saints rocked up against the Swans. They couldn't quite get the W. Jack Steele and Brad Crouch, very good as usual.
Crouch has been good this year. I think
Hasn't
he
he?
copped a bit of flack on that, big-bodied, tough inside midfielder. They've got one in Jack Steele who nearly won a Brownlow. But Crouch has come in, like he's laying a lot of tackles. He's getting a lot of contested ball.
He gets so much ball.
He's just a magnet, and he just, he's not going to really damage you by foot, but he just will get in there, win the clearances, get the ball out, feed it. They just need a couple bit more outside runners. Someone like Bradley Hill, who they have, who just isn't really impacting the game.
Or a big forward that could kick straight. Man.
Oh God, it's like that. He's got the yips. Like Max King has the yips.
Yeah, Max King's got the yips, and Higgins got the yips as well last weekend.
1 goal 6.
Anyways,
That just
I
looked.
can't comment personally.
Yeah.
That looks. I'm happy to get 7 kicks ever in a game.
Yeah,
so,
I got 7 in a game.
It just looks gross. Again, 1 and 12 look bad for Canterbury. 1 goal 6. It's just. And again, they brought him in. They paid a good price to get him in there. I think it was a high second round pick.
Yeah.
Character,
I think, apparently.
They loved him at Richmond. Like they were sad to let him go, but between him and Max, like the guy, eventually this adds up, and you lose a game by 9 points, and a guy kicks 1 goal 6. Like you could genuinely win the game if you just kick straight.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
and not to take anything away from Jack Higgins, because I thought he was outside of.
he played really well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
As a small forward, I think he had close to 25 points.
Yeah. It's just the thing. If you kick 3 goal 4, they win that game.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
the same could be said for the Crom against the Pies. Like the big Texan kicked 2-6, and they lost by 5.
That's right. But
absolutely, but you can't. God, Texan is keeping this Crom in team. Like
indeed.
The Crom equals Texan, like prime Texan. He has. This is nearly his best season. Like
Resurgent.
This man was all Australian captain. Like he's had some all time seasons, but this is. What he's doing with the players around him, it's actually really cool to see because he's a fun player to watch. Sticks a mark and can just kick either foot 60 metres. So,
so who are we picking?
I'm not going to say good game, but I'm going to say close game.
I agree with that.
I'm going with St Kilda. I think they like to beat up on crappy teams and can't beat anyone sort of above them. So
I'll back the Crom.
Crom won't rock up. Crows will rock up.
Crom.
It's not about the tips anymore. It's about the Crom.
It is about the Crom. I backed him in.
Crom.
Peer pressure.
3 Crom. Yeah, almost.
It sounds like Mac
How
is
does it
going
relate?
We're
very
going
far
there.
ahead in the tips this week.
Going to
One way or the other.
We're going to South Australia this weekend for a Bucks party.
Very true.
Might go chew a few ears off in a few local establishments. I'll be keen.
What are the odds there, Max?
So flip of a coin. St Kilda are favourites $1.89. Crom are $1.95.
Jesus,
That's 1.5.
Yeah, 1 if not less.
Half.
Half.
80 million.
Imagine betting on that. Half a point. That's low testosterone.
This could be a 2-0 game. So that game could end up 2-0. So half a point.
Speaking of low testosterone.
Yeah, the shittest game
North
of
Melbourne are playing GWS in Tasmania. Oh.
Both teams coming off the bye. Let's get through this one quickly, bees.
Yeah, the North lost the bye last week in a close contest.
The bye had a couple out too.
I wrote that joke for myself to take out. But
Yeah, Sean
you
delivered
set it
it
up
pretty
for
well.
me, so I had to spike that. I had to spike that bitch down.
Not too
so
bad. Not
The
too bad.
alley-oop.
There we go.
North stink. They're bad at footy.
Yeah.
GWS are
Have a little bit more talent.
middle
outside
of the
their
pack.
rosters, yeah. I've
GWS
gone
will win
GWS.
this by a gross sort of like 28, 29 points. It'll be a shitty, windy game in Tasmania. But again, I won't be watching. I think I'm playing golf on Sunday, so I might miss that one.
Yes. Yeah, I think we'll might be some
GWS
UFC
win.
on that time. So
24.
Yeah.
29 points to GWS.
Yep. Yeah, I got GWS.
Giants for mine.
Max?
I reckon the Roos have a good showing for moving to Tasmania, but I'm going to GWS.
Just blue ball us here on the end of the table. Come on.
GWS are favourites, $1.25. North are out at
That's
$4.
24.
26.5.
23.5.
I'd take that for Giants.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Last game of the round.
No, second last game of the round, but actually it should be somewhat of a good game.
Yes.
Depends on which West Coast rocks up. They host Richmond. A late game on Sunday, so long weekend for us all over the country.
I think in Australia,
all
yeah,
over the
just
country.
about.
So this might be actually all right to watch. Have to be a late one, so no work Monday. Eagles got up over your boys. Perhaps, again, it wasn't the classic close at three-quarter time. They just sort of controlled this game the whole way. It was actually a really good game of footy to watch, the Carlton West Coast game. Flan Ryan hit some form. He came back and he was on fire. A little bit of injury clouds around the West Coast tall forwards. Oscar Allen didn't play. Josh Kennedy didn't play. Didn't matter because they got guys like... and Petrocelli didn't really get involved, but Flan Ryan, young Jordan, was it? They all sort of got involved. Like West Coast just seemed to provide good players everywhere. I mean, again, they just sort of seem to be going along at the moment, but and doing what we want Carlton to do. They're beating the teams sort of around them and below them, and they just aren't matching it to the teams above them. Elliot Yeo's been back for 2 weeks, but he just looks unfit. He looks unfit. I would disagree. Yeah, he had actually a good second half, but I just think
I thought he was good.
He was all right, but prime Elliot Yeo is an All-Australian. I just think that the teams that they've had to rush him back with Shuey out, they've needed him to gel with that mix. Jack Redden's been in good form. Gaff's in good form. Nick Nat-Nui still, he's actually quite underrated. Nick Nat-Nui, like he just jumps on blokes' heads and just gets them going. Like I think it's more a show in the midfield than Nick Nat-Nui that the games aren't going the way they are.
It's probably the other premier rucks in the league as well, kind of taking the spotlight.
Yeah, and like you look at, like Max Gawn's a bit of a cheat code. Like he gets all the hit outs and he gets 20 touches and might kick a goal a game. Like you shouldn't actually be able to do that. Whereas Brary Grundy's a bit the same, but the Collingwood midfield gets smashed. Whereas Nick Nat's not a big ball winner, but his influence with his taps is like if they didn't have Nick Nat, I don't know, this team would be bottom six. Like I think he is really that important, and they have some good players on that team. At either end of the ground, as well as in the midfield. So, but I really think Nick Nat is that barometer that sort of makes the team tick, and he's actually captaining the team for the first time. So it shows you what the players and what the coaches think of him, like not just his influence on the game, but he obviously has a lot of leadership and a lot of qualities that they.
What do you think they can do against Richmond at home?
I actually really want to tip West Coast, but it seems Richmond have flicked the switch and gone, all right.
Yeah.
They've switched the, sorry, Dad, but the fuck you switch.
Sorry, Paddy, if you're listening.
Sorry, Paddy. That they've hit this part of the season where it's like they actually need to start winning some games to position themselves for September, and it just seems they've gone, righto, let's do it. Let's put the Jets on. Like Shea Bolt, I don't know if you always saw him last week, but hey, God,
very good.
He looks an awful lot like a young bloke who wears the number 4 for Richmond. So if you can have two guys play similar to Dusty Martin on your team, you're actually cheating and you shouldn't be allowed to compete.
Well, I think Richmond are now, they've finally got all their guys back. They're healthy. They've got the full squad complement. So
absolutely. And that veteran hardness,
been there, done that.
Whereas West Coast are still very beat up. They've still got a fair few injuries. I think Richmond win over there. It'll have to be a big performance for West Coast to win that one. But I think, Richmond are now in that groove where they're gonna put some teams to the sword.
I stupidly have picked West Coast, and you've kind of talked me out of it, but I'll stick with what I've tipped, and I went with West Coast at home.
In Perth, yeah.
Yeah, Perth.
Which is, and we've talked about West Coast, they're two different teams, either side of the nullarbor.
It's an extra 3 goals for them, essentially.
But, they're playing against pretty much the one team. You actually can't have to not count that in. Sorry, Peps, your tip?
Yeah, I've gone the Tigers for that reason. West Coast have been a bit up and down. I think Richmond get it done here.
Marks?
Yep, got the Desmond.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, so Tigers are favourites, $1.73. West Coast are out at $2.12 at the moment. And the line?
12.5.
No, a little bit closer than that, 4.5.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm well off. Obviously, they had Dream Time at the G out in Perth with Richmond last week, and it was such a great celebration. But I was sort of reading on Twitter, you could tell it was a real neutral game. Without West Coast playing at Optus Stadium, they had a full crowd, they had a great celebration, but it just sort of was lacking a bit. And I think, again, Richmond going back and forth from Perth may impact them as well a little bit. But like that game was close for a long time. Essendon hit the front in the last quarter, and that FU switch that I talked about, Richmond flicked that in a big way in that last quarter. So that should be sort of game of the round. That should actually be, apart from the one on tonight, which is Port Adelaide have just hit the front.
Yes.
So they lead 77-74 with 17 minutes in the last quarter.
They kicked the last 2 as well.
we've kicked last Charlie Dixon getting his hand on the footy, which is always a good sign for Port fans. We go from the first game of the round to the last game of the round, and we sort of touched a bit on it. The big freeze game, Melbourne versus Collingwood. Unfortunately, not at the MCG at its traditional time. It will be at the SCG, so hopefully you get a full house there. The big freeze, obviously, which this game has been built around the last 7 years. Neil Danaher and his work with MND. I don't know if you boys saw him on AFL 360 earlier in the week. Like that's if you want to inspire, people like this man is incredible. Like he physically can't talk. He struggles to move, and yet he's still do yourself a favour and listen to this man talk. Like it will send chills down your spine and bring a tear to your eye.
Or read the book. God. It's a real lesson.
It's a disease that you just can't comprehend. The brain is fully functioning, but the body just doesn't catch up to it.
But the strength of that bloke is
it's inspiring,
unbelievable.
And that's why it's such a crime we can't get an extra 30,000 people to this game to raise a lot of money. And look, if you can't, I've ordered my beanie. I support anyone out there who is listening to the Esky. Buy yourself a beanie, donate to an amazing cause. But there is a game of footy that goes with it, and
that's right. Yep.
A couple of days ago, this was just a chance for Melbourne to boost some percentages, but we spent 10 minutes talking about Nathan Buckley getting the arse or Nathan Buckley stepping down.
Yes.
It just adds to this game, and I think back to Jack Watts making his debut. And there was a lot of chat around, that was the last example. I had a lot of chat outside of the game with this Queen's birthday game, whereas now it's the other way around. It's Collingwood are this, floundering club where they're sacked, the coach is on the way out. Melbourne are this absolute powerhouse, don't look like losing a game ever again. I don't know, I
don't think they get the head coach firing boost. Usually that's good for one game, but since he hasn't left yet, maybe that's not this week, but the following week.
Especially not against Melbourne.
Yeah, I don't think they get past the Ds.
I watch the start of this game. Like, this will be a very emotion charged game. Not being at the G is a killer for the Pies. I think the first quarter will be a real tight, and Melbourne are a bit slower start. The best second half team in the competition, and they've blown some teams out of the water. I think you'll see this happen. I think at half time, this actually might be a bit of a scrap. Collingwood will keep it close, and then D's blow it out to about 30 points. But
they'll flick that fuck you switch.
Yeah. Melbourne have a big one of those this year. So I really think like Bucks is a bit more than just a head coach to some of these guys. Like I mentioned Scott Pendlebury, like he's gone from worshipping this guy to playing with this guy to being under they're best friends from all accounts. Yeah. So,
but we've said it before. This could go either two ways. Like they could come out completely flat for this.
Yeah, and be cooked and saying, "Wow, what a shot!" You talk about COVID and travel interrupting your schedule. Now you throw your hero and head coach getting going in on that. So you're absolutely right.
Or they go the other way, of course, and it's just like, hey, it's the last game. We'll go, rip in, do absolutely everything. We'll kill ourselves to win this game.
100%.
So, either or. And you, like you say, you probably know after the first quarter which way it's going.
Yeah. That my tip is it's a low scoring, scrappy game in the first half, close, and then Melbourne blow it out of the water by 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah, I'm going D's too.
D's here.
Hunks?
Yep, I've gone D's.
Odds?
The line, odds. I should probably start with that. These are favourites $1.20. Collingwood out at $4.60. The line
of 24,
28 and a half.
28 and a half, right in the middle.
Half over 20.
There you go. So that wraps up AFL for the week. Brisbane, the Blues, Essendon, and the Bulldogs all had a bye this week. Let's get into some cricket news. And the main news, of course, is the England versus New Zealand test. That we're currently still in the first session, I believe. The Pommies are batting. They're 65 for zip. New Zealand, the ball has been hooping if you've been watching.
Hasn't it? Yeah.
It's been moved. They've been so unlucky not to.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, they've been so unlucky not to get any wickets so far.
They're finding a lot of edges.
But Burns and who's he batting with? Sibley?
Sibley.
Have both got over 30. And seem to starting to establish themselves. But yeah, as it does in England, the ball is swinging. So we'll have to see how this match
It
continues.
is hooping sideways.
Yes, but let's have a quick chat recap of the first test and how'd that end up? Because I think we broadcasted during day 2.
Yeah, end of day 2, I think we were. Devon Conway, he ended up making 200.
Yeah, got 200 and then
on debut. Yeah, he's running out of partners, the poor bloke. It ended up being the 6th highest score in test history on debut.
On debut, yeah.
That is. Ollie Robinson, we'll have a chat about him in a minute. 4 for 75 for England. He was the best of their bowlers. England went out. They made a measly 275. Half their runs coming from Rory Burns with 132. Tim Southey, the main destroyer for the Black Caps, he had 6 for 43. And then the second innings, a very gutsy declaration from Kane Williamson at 6 for 169.
trying to get a win. Essentially.
That's right, playing for a result.
It's a 2-game series, so
And they lost a day to rain. I think the third day got completely rained out. So he set England 273 to win. Dom Sibley went out there. He held down the fort. I think he had 60 off a lot of balls, and it came out with a draw. This English weather, we spoke about it last week. The World Test Championship is coming up very shortly.
Couple of weeks,
after this second test between New Zealand and India. Is this weather concerning, do you think?
possibly. But looking at the match at the moment, it's nice and sunny. So
For a day.
yeah. But that's England's going to England. Like it'll be sunny for a couple of days. Well, it might be sunny for a day and then rain for the next 4.
That's true.
So you play to the conditions. I think is probably the only way you can talk about that.
The thing for mine, but is how they said in that World Test Championship, if it's a draw,
it's a points countback, isn't it?
Correct.
There's going to be a winner. Yeah,
correct? Yeah, there's no,
So lame.
extra day or yeah.
we need some overtime.
Well, it's a draw. They said it's not. It's like if it was, I'd prefer that if the team that had played better gets the cup, then you'd get around that. But it's pretty much like it's a draw if the test match is a draw. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. A lot of noise has been what's happened.
Yeah. So let's talk. Is
off
it
the field.
Is it
Well, I wanna ask
young
a-
Ollie?
I just want to ask a question real quick. So day 3 rained out. How did you feel about England playing for the draw in the first test?
Oh,
I love New
Instead of
Zealand.
going after
I
it.
love that declaration from Kane Williamson. Like
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah.
like they just
aggressive.
they keep doing things that you go, God, I wish my team would do that. Like
The way
no
they're
one
bowling
ever
in England
declares
at the
that.
moment.
They just bat out the day and whatever they draw. But they go. And Ross Taylor and Henry Nichols were actually having a hit beforehand. Like they obviously all worked that out and planned it.
Yeah.
And then England are all sort of in a hiding to nothing. Like if they try and go for a win, they're probably being a bit too attacking, and then they lose a couple of early wickets, and then they have to, and then so whatever. Like it is test. That's the beauty of test cricket. You play the chess pieces, and a draw is always going to be a result in the back of my mind. Without that rain, that day lost the rain. It's just so killer. Like what could have been in this
It
game?
changes the whole result.
Yeah. But again, it's with a game we love, the game we nuffy about, and
That's right.
and looking at the team now, New Zealand have put out, it's really disappointing because you're probably thinking we'll win this game pretty handsomely. Like New Zealand have had to make 6 changes to their team, but you can't blame England for batting for a draw.
Nah.
Do you want to talk about the young bloke? Talk about Ollie?
Mate, he got it.
He had a good game.
good
You want
game.
to talk about his good? He bowled well, but
On debut.
that's not what people are
too bad.
talking about.
Well, let's start with that. We're talking about an English fast bowler, debutant, Ollie Robinson we're talking about.
Took 7
took
for
7
100.
7 wickets for 100 through his 2 innings. And he got crucified by his own team.
Handy 40 as well in the first innings too.
He showed he can bat. So he's got a tweet from
2012, I think it was.
8 years ago, maybe 4 tweets it was.
Yep.
That have been considered by
What was he, 17, 18 at
18,
the time?
18 at the time.
Yeah.
That have been considered by today's media unsavoury.
Yep. PC.
And then this is the best bit of the whole story. So So he got absolutely crucified.
They were of
and stood down for a match.
homophobic. Was it a homophobic racial undertone? It was quite a light.
There was several. Yeah, there's a racial one. There was a sexist one. So he hit the trifecta.
By the account of the English cricket board.
I don't think YouTube will take us down. So he said, I've just got a new Muslim friend. He's the bomb. And he said, I think the inverted commas sexist one was girls could show a bit more class, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's from 8 years ago.
Yeah, and then so the result from that is they've stood him down for a week.
Down.
So he's not playing in this test.
So interpret that as you will.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Anderson, 162 game legend, one of the best fast bowlers ever.
Mm-hmm. Currently 38 years old.
38 years old to come.
An England great, all time. England 11.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable. So then he's got tweets from 2010 where he's just having a jab at his teammate and he says, brought his haircut, makes him look like a 15-year-old lesbian. Okay.
Did Jimmy get dropped, Peps?
No,
he hasn't yet.
Oh.
And what's the result of the 2013 and 2015 Ashes? Because
That's a stretch, but yeah.
Well,
he shouldn't have been playing.
by their accounts, exactly.
Because the
I'm with
precedent,
Peps on this.
the precedent that they set is if you said anything that's untoward in your life,
Not politically correct.
we can pull you up on it.
Yep.
So,
Doesn't matter when it was.
therefore, Jimmy Anderson shouldn't have played any tests since he was 28 years old.
I think we should take 400 wickets off him. Take them all off. I want the Ashes back.
I think that's unders. I think we should take every test wicket off Jimmy Anderson because he said a disgusting thing
Horrid thing.
in jest to a teammate 12 years ago.
What a crock of shit.
Isn't
seriously.
it?
Like seriously.
Oh,
and they've
fucking
cooked them.
ridiculous.
They've cooked themselves now by doing this. They've absolutely. So now you have to go back and do that because, in all honesty, they're going to have to make a statement about this now. Why Jimmy Anderson can play, which is going to dig up stupid. Like
Because Joe Root didn't back Ollie. He's come out and said,
Mate, he
it's
crucified him.
It's
He
a
crucified
valuable
him.
learning
Golly.
lesson for them, and etc. So
learning lesson. My ass.
Look,
Yeah.
as an Australian on the outside looking in, I'd love to watch Joe Root, but like I'd love him. I'd love him in the Australian team. But to see the way that he crucified
Cooked a debutant as captain.
someone that should be someone that they're getting around, it was fucking disgusting.
I guarantee the sponsors have probably had a word in the back. So
Well, good. The sponsors should be talking to Jimmy Anderson because he said some obscene things 12 years ago.
yeah.
I'm neither a lesbian or a Muslim, so I don't find offence to
It's
either
strange
comment.
because you look like both of them.
I play cricket like a lesbian. Oh, sorry. Fuck. Sorry. Oh, now I'm part of it. Damn it. I'm sorry.
You just got
I'm
you guys cancelled, Mac. I think.
I'm sorry. But, like, I don't know. They're not hardcore comments either. Like, if I could say they are borderline comments.
tend to agree
But
with you.
you've absolutely cooked one and... Like, it's going to keep happening as well. Like, there'll be more things to pop up. Like,
what's the microscope for Butler and Morgan as well? Is there some chat about them too?
Well, apparently they've got some tweets from fucking 4,000 years ago.
if you're 14, 15 and you're a handy sports person, delete social media, please.
Yep.
Please.
Don't say what you think.
Just get rid of it because this
No one cares that you
will
learnt and
always
matured.
happen. There'll always
It
be a
won't matter.
crowd.
The final stone got put on the Great Pyramid of Giza, and then you made your tweet, and then they said, "Hey, fuck that guy. Don't worry about that." Like that's how far they go back. That's how far they go back.
Dude, the pyramids were made by aliens. What are you talking about? YouTube it. It's actually a good watch.
The first amoeba started crawling out of the water, and it started crawling on the beach, and it made an unsavory tweet.
The journos that are
Don't
reporting.
make-
Motherfucker back in the water.
Don't make the greatest species that ever roamed the earth. You made an unsavory tweet back there, you amoeba.
Yeah, get back in that water.
Like it's fucking ridiculous, man.
It's a joke.
Oh, isn't it?
And again, like,
Anyways.
he'll never go back. Like, how does he get back into the team now?
Yeah.
He's blacklisted.
God.
Yeah, it's like, how do you talk to Joe Root after that?
We will
Is his
swap
question,
Cameron Bancroft for Ollie Robinson. I will happily do
Fair
that.
trade.
On that.
so. Fair trade, definitely.
Snitch.
So to finish up,
What are we talking about? Cricket. Yeah, right.
Yeah. To finish up on the cricket, I think they've just ended the first session for I think 69 nothing.
7, nice. 67 though.
67. Okay.
Thanks for Rory Burns for being the most boring batsman in the world. But again, that's what Test cricket is.
It is just yes.
I just wanted to quickly run through the outs for New Zealand for this team.
Go for it.
Guy named Kane Williamson, BJ Watling, probably the best keeper batsman. Santner is out. Colin de Gronholm with that gorgeous mullet that he's sporting. That's a shame. A guy that took a casual sixfer in Tim Southey out, and the $1 million man from the IPL, Kyle Jamieson, out. So there's 6.
Undermanned.
That's an undermanned team. So I mean, them like that draw is a crime for
Flick one down there.
for the Blick Kips. Shout out them. Shout out to Stem, who's at the game in Edgbaston. 18,000, so full house at Edgbaston. Good
Should
on.
we tell the story?
Good on it. Oh, we're gonna do it quickly. Shout out to Stemmer. When was the Ashes in England? Jesus, it's been there a long time.
2 years ago?
19.
2019. Our mate Stem went down. Aussie in England. Went down, watched a game of cricket, got around it. Day's play's finished. Everyone sort of filters out through the ground. Stem said, "Nah, I'm hanging around here for a bit." To make a long story short,
You still there?
he snuck in to the groundsman's smoko room, waited for everyone to leave, and he was at. I think he was at Lord. I think he was just there by himself till 3, 4 in the morning. He
stayed the whole night.
He was up there the whole night, and then at about 6, 7, 8 in the morning, woke up. He was walking around. One of the security guards came up to him and said, "Who are you, sir? What are you doing here?" He's decked out in Aussie cricket gear, and he said, "Oh, I'm Shane Webke. I'm all good. I work here." And the security guard goes, "Yeah, all right, you're right, mate." Kept walking.
Give him a lanyard.
Gave him a lanyard. He was there in high. He found a high vis gear. He was wearing high vis. Found where the groundsmen kept their beers.
Shane Webke.
Oh, Shane Webke working. I think his phone died. That's why I thought, I better get going. There's still a couple of hours to the cricket. So shout out to Stemmer. He's back at the cricket. There's crowds at the cricket.
Edgbaston.
Oh, Port Adelaide kicked the point. So it's 3 goals to Geelong at the moment. Looks like they might be able to get over the line with 8 minutes left. That's the world in Test cricket at the moment.
Should we roll into some American sports?
Yes, let's go international, and we'll start with the news and player news in the NFL, James. So the first big news was Julio Jones. He's going to the Tennessee Titans. They were the hot favourites. A few other clubs kind of put their hands up, but the Titans get the job done. So I think it's Julio and a 6th for a 2nd next year and a 4th the following year for a trade. I'd say that's an excellent trade. Hopkins was the 2nd round, and you get Julio over 2nd round. Those GMs are getting stitched up a little bit with that.
It's weird. Like I don't know if you can count Bill O'Brien. Like he's just a moron. But
Diggs went for a first. I think, so.
Tennessee are paying all of the contracts. So I wonder if that I think it's a 15, 14, 13 cap hit. So. As it should be, because he's been one of the best receivers. I think probably the best over the last 10 years. I'd probably say he's
besides last year, I think he's averaged 1,500 receiving yards every season. Besides last year, I think I saw was the stat. If you add up all his yardage,
wild.
So it's wild. He's been good. Some of the chat was coming out that he wanted to go a team that could throw the deep ball. Ryan Tannehill can definitely do that.
What about their touchdowns have been a bit low?
Yeah,
I hate that chat. God, it's
there's the meme. There's the same meme that for the Seahawks. You've got AJ Brown open, you've got Julio Jones open. Hand it off to Derrick Henry.
That could be what happens.
The 2K man. He's going to have a nice open box when he gets out there to pound the rock.
It is an unfair stigma, Pepsi touch. Like if you covered up his touchdown column, you'd say this guy's. Like Calvin Johnson, he's one of the best to ever do it. And then you open and you go, it's all single-digit touchdowns. He's all time. AJ Brown was big on Twitter, recruiting him. I don't know if you saw a couple on social media. Yeah. So
he needs a running mate.
They've gone from they got rid of Corey Davis and they bring in Julio Jones. That's
a nice little.
That offense is good. The defense stinks. So I think yeah. And the South sucks. AFC South is real stink. Texans suck. Jacksonville will be whatever. Colts need to work out what Wentz is. So I think that if Derrick Henry can stay healthy, that's the team to beat in the South.
Yeah, I think Tannehill's also restructured his contract a little bit as well to save a bit of money to help get Juliana the salary cap. So
Julio,
the Julio Jones.
Julio.
Yeah. the next little bit of news and a bit of Australian news, Michael Dickerson, the punter for the Seattle Seahawks, has just signed a nice, tidy little 4-year, 19 million AUD deal, that is.
Casual.
So $19 million for him. How good?
Very good.
Fucking oath.
Aussie making money, and it's a big thing in the States at the moment. And I've heard Pat McAfee and a couple of the old punters come out in a lot of the college ranks. There's a lot of ex sort of AFL players, like Ben Griffiths is one. He played 150 games for Richmond. He's at USC at the moment, so he gets a free college degree. Yep. He's probably going to be a professional after it. But we're better at kicking than them. We've kicked the ball since we're growing up. So they're complaining. Oh, you're taking scholarships of young Americans. Like, shut up. But kick the ball better than them. Yeah, well, how many a $1 billion company masquerading as a school?
Yeah, but you look at place kickers as well. It's not like all of them are locals either. So
that's right. Exactly. So, but so that's again like the punter. Being a punter is up there with dream jobs. It's like
being a second string quarterback.
Oh, like that's good money. Like he'll make money for the next 10 years. He gets to go out and kick. If you're on a good offense, you actually don't have to kick that much. You might have 40 kicks in a season. Like,
mate, he's going to make more money than Buddy Franklin will make in the back end.
If he plays all that 90 million, that's more than any footy player that's ever played. Ever. So absolutely. And it'll happen more and more. Like, why the hell wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why those guys have got big legs and they're dropping bombs are like, well, I don't have to say run as much, and I just got to go there and kick the ball, 10 times in a game.
Absolutely. And like you look at Sav Rocca, who played a full career, kicked 800 goals. At the end of your career, you're 32, 33. Yep. Absolutely, I could go over the States for 6 years and just bomb a ball.
Yeah, you get a bit of the superannuation going.
Absolutely. In 6 years, you could make
double what you made
so
in your career here.
Shout out to all the Aussies going out there getting paid. He's actually a legitimately good punter. He does something. 100%. So he's a gun.
All up until Roger Goodell gets rid of kicking in the game.
Well,
I don't think he could do that. I think Goodell's probably only got another 2 or 3 years before they rotate in another commish, so I don't think they'll change the rules significantly in that time frame. I think they're probably more worried about can I get 18 game season in. So, anyway,
that's for another potty, I think.
Yes.
The weekly Aaron Rodgers news. I'll palm that off to you guys. Probably. The favourite is he's going from Pepsi's team to Sean's team, so we could have a bit of hostility here on the Esky.
I think that's the chat, but also Deshaun Watson, I think, came out. Well, Kareem Jackson, who's close friends with Deshaun Watson, was on a podcast yesterday and said that Deshaun Watson wants to come to Denver. So I think that's the chat that Denver has the ammo and the cap space to make a run at one of these guys. But we'll see what happens. The news on Aaron Rodgers, though, is he's officially holding out. They had mandatory camp to yesterday, I think it was, and he didn't show as expected. So he's now an official holdout. The club can start fining him, but I don't think they're planning to at this stage. It's about $50,000 a day, I think, if he doesn't show up.
Jesus, a bit of money.
Yeah, for him, though, it's a bit of different precedent.
About a day.
Yes. Anyway, he probably makes more money from his bloody State Farm deal sponsorship anyway, so he just write it off as tax expenses. I think as well his whole receiving corps hadn't been at training up until this point. I think most of them reported. Adams maybe hadn't, but that's allegedly at this point. I know for a fact that Rodgers didn't. With that news, though, this time every year, I think in the next month they announce the new Madden game, and usually a month before that they announce the cover athlete. So they usually would have announced the cover athlete for EA Sports Madden game, but so far this year they haven't. And the reason why is probably because Aaron Rodgers was meant to be the cover athlete, and they don't want to put Aaron Rodgers.
Any two-time athletes?
There's a few. I think Brady might have done it twice, and
I think you might be right, but. Outside of Brady, I don't think anyone.
Maybe Peyton for that year, maybe not.
Monks are bringing that up.
Anyway, Monks can bring that up real quick. But the reason being, of course, they don't want to put Rodgers on the cover in a Packers jersey if he's not actually playing for the Packers this year. So, and he was the MVP last year. Kind of makes sense, and he'll probably get a nice little endorsement, which probably covers his fees for not being at training camp. but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But that's the rumor at the moment for why there has been no announcement on a cover athlete. I had seen some chat that suggestion of why they put Nelson and Aaron Donald on the cover, going head to head as a premier left guard and premier tackle.
They've never done that ever.
Yeah, but no, they haven't. They haven't gone to the trenches because, of course, it's not the premier positions that sell well. But anyway, Monkey, did you get us an answer on Madden cover athletes?
I don't think anyone.
I don't
has
think
been
Brady
on twice. No, Brady was on 18.
Yep.
So that's it.
That's it.
What about Brady didn't crack the market till 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be by choice, though.
Gronk was one, and then he did his knee.
Yeah, Gronk was 17.
Curse.
What about Peyton Hillis? Great.
Oh, God. That's actually the last good Madden, I reckon.
Oh,
13. 100%.
No.
I reckon that's 12 or 13. That's actually the last
12.
Madden I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Was it 12?
12. Yeah.
Shocking
They've been
choice.
great. They've been great since then.
I know.
No, they haven't. No, sorry. Madden's been so poo lately.
Yes, I agree with
Lately,
Mac on that. The rinse and repeat, the copy paste essentially for that game.
Yeah, but the graphics get better every year, dude.
Yeah,
Who gives a shit?
Who
I
gives a
sim
shit? The game
90% of the games
do they
anyway.
do?
You know the best Madden chat that'll come out of this? What? So, Vin and Terry retired a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
They had his graphics when he was first in the league.
Yeah.
Lee Carvello's putting kicking challenge.
It was worse than Lee Cutler's challenge.
It was like wasn't it like 96 or something he
Dude,
started?
there was 8 pixels in the whole thing.
Yeah. That's wild.
You know what we should do? We should do it on the Esky little Madden round robin.
Ooh.
I will towel all you up.
Well, he's played for the last decade, whereas the rest of us haven't.
Oh, I thought you got.
I'm still good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've lost a game of Madden since I was 9 years old.
Yeah,
and I played myself. I swapped over at halftime.
You want to get your first L down?
I'd love to. I'd actually like to. That's why I got shit, because I just kept winning.
You come to my house after the Esky tonight.
We'll go on the Esky after dark. Sorry, Dad. F-bombs everywhere.
Anyway, moving on. Final little bit of news for the Ravens. They've added some offensive line help. They did sign Juwan James from the Broncos, who blew out his Achilles and looks like he may come back in the middle of the year. But we talked about his deal getting torn up and no guarantees. Mm-hmm. This essentially means he's kind of got nothing out of that. Hasn't gotten any agreement from Denver, like compensation for his Achilles, because it's kind of written in his contract that he wouldn't. So no leg to stand on, no pun intended.
Literally.
No leg to stand on.
So he got a 2-year, $9 million deal, and I think they've also signed Michael Schofield from the Chargers, former Broncos guard as well. So a bit of help for the Ravens.
must have been told, like, because I know he's like looking at suing the league, and they must have been told you've got nothing here. So, by signing a new contract, you've obviously avoided any like legal.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. So again, I don't think he plays this year.
No.
But he wants to sign for a ring, so that's good for him. That's really smart, actually. Joined the first 20-0 team. Very smart from Juwan.
Big shout. Hopefully you got a bet on that. Let's roll into some NBA playoffs.
NBA play, and it has been an awesome playoffs. Like, it's actually been one of those.
It's starting to really heat up. I'm quite enjoying it.
It's really good. Like, it's where you check every day. You look in on the scores. You check in on the stats.
Make
you
that
want
big
to see
bucks.
how the star players are going.
Half big.
The big one, the first game 7 for the season was the Clippers. They came back from 3-2 down. We were thinking LA was gone. I will toot my own horn and say game 6 Kawhi was going to flick the Kawhi switch, and I think he scored 45 points. He went absolutely bunter. He went full Kawhi on everyone and played really well in game 7 as well. Luka just needs
support.
Like a pulse from his other teammates. Like Porzingis just didn't really offer much, and he's on some pretty good money there. I know he's had his body issues, but they need to go find Luka because he is scary good. Like Luka is a cheat code at the moment.
I think he MVP chat for next year, definitely.
100%. And we talked about how he owned the Clippers, and before this series he averaged 30, 10, and 10. Every single one of those stats would have gone up after this series. Like he
was averaging 40.
He was carrying that, like literally carrying that team. And I think you're right. I think he had to, because there isn't much of a supporting cast there, which is really sad because he's such a fun player to watch. And we talk about LeBron maybe, you know, being on the downslope and he's only got a year or two left, and who's going to sort of take that mantle. Yeah, the European market's going to really pop up because Luke is that guy. He is that good. He can be in that conversation. The things he can do on the court is just mesmerising.
You throw someone like Joker in there who's just won the MVP.
100%.
Like,
yeah,
European basketball's being put on the map.
Absolutely, and it's actually sad to not see Dallas playing anymore because it just means Luka. We won't see Luka anymore, and he has got some neck and some back issues. So hopefully he doesn't do Olympics. He actually can get some rest and hit the season 100% next year. So, and we'll get into the West or the big picture. But now you kind of look at it and you go, the Clippers, although they did lose game one, they're not the worst shout. And the West does look like a lot of fun. The East, obviously, we'll get into that, but the West looks like it could be a bit of anything, despite how the results have gone.
Yeah, well, let's confirm that. So the Nuggets have won their series 4-2 against the Blazers and are now through facing the Suns, who won their series against the Lakers.
They did, yes.
Suns have already taken a 2-0 lead in their series over the Nuggets and have been pretty dominant, I'd say.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock for mine. I thought coming off the 6-game series, both teams may need a bit of that, but it's the beauty of the playoff basketball. You have to flick the switch and go again, and Phoenix really they've stepped up and they've been shit hot. Like there's no denying that. Denver they've got the MVP on their side, and he did get announced midweek with the Joker, but it's been all Phoenix like that. It kind of looks like a mismatch, and I sort of thought with Ayrton and the Joker might even cancel each other out, which is sort of ridiculous when we've got this MVP for the season. But
it doesn't look like Gordon's kind of really adding what he needs to, and like I'd say CP3 and Booker have just completely taken over.
Booker's a bucket. He just gets open so many different ways. Like he's so creative offensively. And Paul's just feeding them constantly. I think he had 15 assists in the game today. And doesn't need to score points. Like he's so comfortable not scoring the basket. Yeah. And we've said it before, I will say it again. He will be an all-time coach when he decides not to, because he's essentially doing it now. Yep. He's just wearing the jersey and actually playing the games. I shouted him a beer here on the Esky, but the difference he has made to this team, and he's never played in a finals, which is a crazy thing to say out loud, but really hoping sort of the guy you can actually get behind in the West. And this could be their year. Not to put a monkey on them, touching wood and whatever, but they are still very young. They're still very young, but it's like he's balancing and bringing the best out of this young talent, and they are really fun to watch. And for his sake and for Suns fans' sake, that this is the year they go. Yeah. So while we're still on the Nuggets, before we move on to the Jazz and Clippers, let's quickly cover the Joker. Of course, as we said, he won the MVP. Absolutely. He played all 72 regular season games. He averaged 34 and a bit minutes a game, 26 and a bit points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 and a bit steals, and close to a block a game. No block a game. Shooting was unreal for a big man. Over 50% field goal percentage. 57, close to 57. That's 57, fucking automatic inside. Close to 40 on a 3-point percentage, and then almost 87% on free throws as well. So he's the first ever second round pick. He was picked 41 to be an MVP. He's the first ever MVP for a Nugget to win. Previous lowest pick to win was Steve Nash and the Greek Freak, who were both picked 15. European players have won 3 in a row now, and I just said, Luka chat for next year. There could be 4. So and Marks, I'm going to test you. Look at the MVP mark for this year, because I think Luka is that front runner, and they seem like a team that's going to add someone. And I've completely jumped off the Joker, which sort of seems like what people have done. He's one of the most underrated MVP. He's a quite funny bloke. Seasons ever. He's just a big sort of fat looking bloke who actually is very athletic. No shock, an NBA player is athletic, but he just ran the court, played every game, which I think, and we talked about last week with the Knicks, it's probably showing now. He's played every game. He's played a lot of minutes. I think behind Julius Randle, he had the second most minutes of the season. Yeah, you saw how Randle looked in the playoffs. Now we're into the second part of the season. And Joker did some really good things in that Portland series because he had to, to get over Dame. But you wonder how. But look, let's celebrate the guy. First center to win since Shaq. I think we got there, and we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. So very much a different player to Shaq. Has a bit of a 3-point game. He passes the ball, sets up that ball movement. Whereas Shaq was, throw me the ball. I'm putting that ball in the hoop, and we'll do that, 30 times a game.
He was dominant, absolutely dominant.
So
that's where he
it was really cool, and I am going to shit on him a bit. If Harden doesn't get injured. There were a few injuries where, he was sort of the last man standing, which, whatever, again, that's I don't want to shit apart. Like, this is why he's an underrated MVP. Like, he's had a really good season. If you actually stack up his stats with Giannis this year, it's not too different, but whatever. We won't, I think Giannis is suffering from.
He's a freak, so.
He's a freak, he's one of the last couple MVPs. People are a bit over him, but Giannis had every part of the season he's the last couple of years. So, but Jokic, congratulations. It's been the last couple of months. It's just sort of been Jokic's to lose. So you wonder if they were sort of playing to that, and now they've come up against Phoenix, who are really, a team. Like all 5 starters contribute. They've got a couple of bench starters, whereas Denver sort of really lean on the Joker.
Yeah, missing Murray, of course.
Missing the Canadian. Do you want to talk about the other series with the Clippers and the Jazz? Jazz winning today.
Yeah, well, Jazz still the number 1 seed, and of course no one talks about them overly too much. But they win in an absolute they had a defensive scramble to finish it off. With I know Ingles was the last one to get his hand in the way. I can't remember who the other bloke was. They actually had the block on the 3-point attempt to prevent them tying it up to take it into overtime. But yeah, I think the Spider was the main chat in this. He scored 40 points. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell.
Who again, like Utah,
kind of like Dame, is this a guy that's underappreciated that
100%
just carries on
in a market that is underappreciated. Like again, this Jazz team, there was probably a couple days where they weren't the best record in the league, and yet no one is still talking about them. They're at 1-0 up in the conference semifinals, and still knowing we're just now getting on top of them. Like. Yeah. We should be talking about this team a lot more. They play the game the right way. They play defense probably the best in the league at the moment, and they share the ball around. They've got a guy like Donovan Mitchell who can score, when he's on at will. Like, you can't defend that man. But still, I'm still in the. I still think the Clippers win this series. Like that's how underrated this team is, which is shocking. They've got a 1 next to their name for a reason. Like, but I don't know. Like. They literally can't do much more to prove people wrong, and yet they still have to. So it's a weird situation. Maybe it's a small market. Maybe it's just the fact that them and the Nuggets are the same team, and I feel like I'm watching them back to back.
Well, one team's winning, the other team isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Are they? We wouldn't know. The Nuggets Jazz are down 2-1. Yeah. So combine them as a team, they're down 2-1.
Yeah.
Shit chat. Let's go to the East. Let's talk about the East. Let's talk about the East. We might start with Brooklyn, and it's a bit of a mismatch with the Bucks. Looking at that series before it started, you sort of say Giannis will get his. There's no defensive matchup for him. Like Greek Freak isn't. That's a literal description of this man.
Yeah.
But they've got guys like Middleton and Drew Holiday. They actually can match up with Irving and Harden. And in the first 10 seconds, Harden does a hammy, and you go, "Hang on, there's a bit of a sniff here," and it's been a shit pumping. Yeah. This Brooklyn team is every part of the All-Star team they are.
Durant's just gone to another level. Some of the stuff that he did to Freak in the game, I think, yesterday was
and it's been the other way around. I thought Giannis would actually. He's a defensive maniac, Giannis. And he's so long, and, he actually matches up really well with Durant, who, again, is this physical freak, but, he's just getting his buckets. And then Kyrie has stepped it up. Like that Boston series, we thought that was a bit of an FU to Boston for everything that happened, but he's brought that energy into here. And
he's just carrying it.
And we were sort of talking about it in the group. Watching him play, he's probably one of the best players to watch. Like, he's just so entertaining. Like, when he's dribbling, it looks like he's just, I don't know. Sorry, this is horrible radio. I'm just making dumb dance moves with my arms. But it looks it's so effortless the way he dribbles and gets around guys. And
he's the peak of his powers at this point.
Oh, he absolutely is in his bag. And there's rumors Harden's a game away. He's a couple days away with his hamstrings. If he doesn't play a game for the rest of the playoffs, it would surprise me. But
what about Blake Griffin?
Old school Blake is back.
Just slamming dunks left, right, and centre.
And when Harden went down that first game, everyone thought, shit, look out here. Blake was probably maybe not the best player, but
lifted.
What he lifted, I think he had 18 points and 12 rebounds and a couple dunks. He a few, like 5 assists as well. Had this really prime Blake all-round game where he was doing a bit of everything. And like they're cheating. If Blake can unlock, 20% of old Blake, like they win this without losing a game the rest of the way. And, if Harden does somehow get back into the frame, like... And I should hate the Nets for what they've done and, they're breaking basketball, but, geez, they're fun to watch.
Oh, definitely.
They're fun to watch. Dare I say I want them to win?
Oh.
Them and Phoenix. If them and Phoenix are in the final, I don't know why. I don't know why I like the Nets. I should hate them, but they're just... I really like them. I like that they're superstars.
It's a spectacle, though.
Except Kyrie,
It's super entertaining. The Hawks and the 76ers have also been pretty impressive. Trae Young, of course, being pretty bloody good.
Bad guy Trae, yeah. He's kind of brought on that, getting booed at Madison Square Garden. He's used his, harness that bit of Goku spirit bomb. He's brought on all that hate and he's just thrown in the face if anyone wants to match up with him. That game one, that's a big upset. Like they did very well to win that game in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Sixers obviously came back and bounced back. Joel Embiid, oh my God, that man is a freak. Like he is.
If he's healthy, he's probably fighting Joker for the MVP.
Oh, 1,000%. He plays 15 more games. He wins that off Joker for sure. 40 and 13, but just dominant, just absolutely bullied. I was thinking about this this morning on the drive to work. One guy it's our guy Aussie, Ben Simmons, who we love and we say he does a bit of everything. Don't expect him to score a lot of points. He took 4 shots. He scored 4 points. 4 points, 3 balls. Like he's getting paid $40 million a year. I don't know. They won the game, so whatever. Whatever he did.
Again, it depends on game plan. Like if he's drawing guys out, so then Embiid can feed. Maybe it's worth it.
If you're paying a guy $40 million just to make Embiid a little bit better, I think you can find a cheaper guy for that. So
true.
I'm a little bit worried about, and the no shooting thing. I've always sort of said whatever. Like he does so many other things. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he can do a lot of other things. He's obviously an elite defender at the point guard, just because he's 3 times the size of every other point guard in the comp.
It'd be interesting to see how the series rolls on and his role.
I think they're a much better team than Atlanta on paper. Both, and it was I think I said in the groupie Peps the game 1 stat that I found fascinating. All of Philly's starters were positive with plus minus. Yeah. All of Atlanta's starters were minus, plus minus, and yet Atlanta still won. So it shows you that the bench, you got guys like Lou Williams coming off the bench for Atlanta. So it shows that it's more than a 5-team game, but. When you're starting 5, you're paying them close to $200 million. You'd probably want them to have a bit more of impact. But
I'm finding this really interesting. The playoffs essentially. I look at the East Conference teams, and I think the teams in the East Conference, for mine, are the better teams. But for whatever reason, I think someone from the West will win this competition.
Really?
Yeah.
Over the Nets?
Yeah, like whether it's. Say the Suns surprise someone, or like I'm looking at Suns of Jazz here as the super underrated guys. One of those sneaks into the NBA Finals and then just upsets, say the Nets or the Sixers if they make it. Like
it's a good narrative, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the perspective. I just don't see it happening.
Because you look at those 8 teams on the screen right there, and your eyes, go to Brooklyn, they go to Milwaukee, they even go to Philadelphia before they even drift over to the left side. Yep. And even there, I'd probably go Clippers and Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And yet, again, Utah have been the best team in the competition all year long.
Yep.
I think
could you name 4 Jazz players?
Besides Ingles and Mitchell?
We'll chuck them in there. Chuck them in there. Give me 2 then.
And Bogdanovic.
Yeah. And we should say Rudy Gobert won his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year. But they should be talked about more, but they're not. And again,
that's why I'm thinking sneaky underrated. They just slide in your DMs there and they end up winning this NBA Finals.
I think the issue with the East is you've got all those teams.
You've got the huge names as well.
All those games as well to get to the next round. Whereas on the West, I'm guessing Phoenix are going to do it in 4 games. Probably
Jazz
Utah
maybe
4, maybe 5 games.
I think
they're probably going to be fresher getting into the finals.
True, but then maybe that Phoenix Jazz hypothetical series is an absolute bloodbath, and they play 7 games to get to there. So,
and then also you look at Brooklyn; they might have to beat Milwaukee and Philadelphia. You know, if they can do that, that's actually quite a very, you know, if they go Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, that's as tough as the run you'll get. You know, then that's if you can beat those 3, then absolutely you can beat Denver or whoever the hell you come up against.
Well, you think so. That's you're doing the quick math on the calculations here. That they've had the hardest run. They should win that.
Yeah,
but you know, I, for whatever reason, in the back of my mind, I just see the Smokey, the guy coming in from the West, will sneak this.
It's a good and the best thing that for playoffs at the moment is crowds. My God, it makes sports better viewing. And something about basketball being in these big stadiums, but it's just being, you know, a little bit of, and there's 10 guys running up and back. It's just, the crowds make so much better. And high scoring, bet the over on every game. The scores are insane. They are just...
It's end-to-end basketball. It's fun to watch.
Good stuff to watch. So, I don't know. We sort of just wrapped it all up without giving any real definitive answers, which I guess is a good thing. You know, there isn't... Obviously, Brooklyn are the favourites for a reason.
Yes.
Like Milwaukee are going to have to come out. They're in Milwaukee now for the next couple of games, so they're going to want to defend their home court. And they're heating up. And I don't know. Like you said, you can't really pick one. Heart and injury makes things a lot interesting. You hate guys being injured, but it actually makes things sort of a lot more interesting. Brings things back to earth.
So we picked our teams in round 1. Who have we got in the conference semis?
I will say this doesn't count because, you know, of all the injuries that have happened. So Lakers should still be the champions for the next year or 2.
Well, I picked the Nuggets at the start, following the Denver, but I really like what the Suns are doing, and of course the Jazz. So maybe I'm a little bit biased to the West, and that's why I'm feeling that way. But yeah, I'm backing a team from the West at this point.
Jazz for mine.
Jazz.
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
Is it Muggy?
I did have Boston. I'm going to have to go Brooklyn. I'm going to be public enemy
The villain
number 1 now. Yeah.
I'll go Phoenix just for something.
Yeah. Good pick. So before we jump into some fire news, a quick little note on the NHL where it's at. The Avs in Golden Knights, I think, are at 3-2 in their series. The Islanders have just won theirs. They clinched their series. The Lightning will then take on the Islanders in the next round, I believe. And then I'm not sure which Canadian team. Was it the Canadian team? No. Montreal. Yes, it was Montreal. Have swept the Jets in their competition. So they're through and will take on either the Golden Knights or the Avalanche in the next one. I think Knights are at home for the last game in that series. So they might be a smoky for the next game in that series to sneak through there.
Where are the fighters at?
Gone. Gone ski.
They're playing in Newcastle.
Yeah, they're Newcastle at the moment. Anyway, let's talk about some boxing to kick off our fighting news.
Before that, Geelong beat Port 112 to 91.
There you go. Yeah, and the cricket is just coming back out for the second session. And you know how I said it was sunny? It is now overcast and looks miserable in England.
Water is also wet.
All right, boxing. And the biggest thing to talk about in boxing, of course, was Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. We probably should quickly mention Chad Ochocinco on the undercard, or Chad Johnson, former NFL wide receiver. He took on Brian Maxwell, a bare-knuckle boxer. Looked competitive. That's probably the best way to say it. He did get knocked down. Welcome to boxing punch for him. But otherwise, he didn't embarrass himself. On the other hand, let's talk then about Logan and Mayweather. Logan had the 190 pound limit. He weighed 189 pounds. Mayweather had 160 as his limit, only weighed in 155. So 34.5 weight difference. Quick math there. What did you guys think of the fight before I do a recap? Well, what were your thoughts?
Boring.
Ooh, boring for one?
Yeah, I definitely didn't pay for it, but obviously, so apologies. Had an illegal sort of stream on the replay, but watching
Don't
replay.
admit that.
It wasn't live.
Dana will come up.
It wasn't live. Sorry, Dana. Hey, give the Esky a shout out, Dana, and I'll cover belting from you. The stat that came out was Logan landed more shots on Floyd than Connor, which I don't believe, or I think it.
Well, the stats are true.
Well, yes, he punched him in the head more times than Connor punched him in the head.
Yeah, but that first round where I think he threw 33 punches in the last 30 seconds.
That was insane. It was going hammer and tong.
There were hook haymakers and nothing got through the defence, whereas McGregor did land that beautiful uppercut, which showed Mayweather there's some power there, but Mayweather being Mayweather just rode through it like it was nothing. But in the 8 rounds that McGregor had, I think it was a bit more competitive than what Mayweather and Logan was. Logan, as mentioned, he started off pretty hot, but he gassed after 2 and then had to hold on for 6 rounds. And Mayweather picked him apart, essentially. Picked him at will, couldn't knock him out or knock him down. Logan does have a big chin on him, so it proved he can take a punch. So if this had scorecards and judges, Mayweather would have won this easier.
Yep.
Easily,
Logan didn't win a round, did he? Like Logan didn't win a round, surely.
Maybe you give him one.
Nah,
but
I don't.
He didn't do any damage.
Enough, but you can't say he. There was that one. I think you're right. At the end of the first round, this man thought he was going to literally hit Mayweather's head off his block. The way he was sweet, he'd been training and he talked about his training, and he's just
the windmills,
dog paddling the side of his head. Right. I don't know. The highlight was wearing that Charizard card out, which apparently was worth what, 250 grand? Fuck off.
More
Sorry.
than, apparently.
Gee whiz, what will we now? Man wore and we talked about it last week. Is it good for boxing? I don't know. If he can get paid close to $30 million for that.
It's good for Logan, let's put it that way. It's good for Mayweather.
It's good for both of them. But
it's great. Mayweather came out and said it's a legalized bank robbery.
Yep.
There's absolutely everything legal about me. $30 million. What's Wilder and the Gypsy King going to get for their fight? Are they going to get anywhere near that?
I think they did. I think Anthony Johnson versus Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, the big boy.
The big boy. When they fought in Abu Dhabi, I think Anthony Johnson was pretty close to the 100 mil, but maybe it was 80 mil pounds, but in AUDs it was over 100 mil. Maybe that's what I remember. But shitloads of money for those two in Abu Dhabi because it was in Abu Dhabi that threw money at him.
No worry, no wonder guys like Woodley. Yeah, no wonder he's over the hill. But of course you're going to take a fight with a ball brother.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
it pays. Yeah, it pays. It's easy money. Mayweather knew he's probably didn't have to worry about Logan's power or size that much. Yes, Logan tried to clinch a whole bunch to weigh him down, make him carry me around. But Mayweather, he barely trained for this, essentially. Even
that's what I mean. Think about...
He's just instinctive for him at this point.
Mayweather's thought process for this whole thing, when all the numbers are out there and he gets told, you are going to get paid $130 million for this. You're pissing yourself every day. You wake up every day laughing and, you're training for this fight. He's I don't know. The numbers are just bizarre. I don't understand how that drew that much money.
I don't know. Because you got to pay $50 million. No, not $50 million. You got to pay $50 for the pay per view. So if you sold a mil buys, that gets you to $50 million.
Quick math.
But that's not in the realm of.
That doesn't go. Oh man.
And some of the UFC pay per views, don't even hit $2 million as an example. So that's we're talking different sports here, but. Yeah, don't know. And you look at the crowd there. It was I can't remember what stadium they're in, but it wasn't a packed stadium. They had say a couple thousand of the celebrities, big stars in and around the ring. Then there was nothing until the nosebleed sections that hadn't filled in or anything like that. So it wasn't like it was
in Miami.
I think so because there was
Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, they had some issues with rain for some of the early fights, needing to clean up the canvas, of course.
What a shit show!
Yeah, it was essentially.
Do they really make that much money then?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe you throw in the sponsorships and all the other stuff that comes into it, and they're the actual purse where each one's kind of agreed money wise. Then you add in their pay per view points. Yeah, maybe it's in the realm of those figures. Maybe not exactly what they were, but in the ballpark.
Logan Paul, do you want Anthony Pizzullo? Let's go. Fly out.
Another
Canberra,
one.
Australia. Canberra, Australia. We'll take it. 26 mil. 26 mil.
Yeah. The final kind of thoughts on this, there was some chat that came after when people were reviewing this fight that maybe Mayweather did knock out Logan.
Well, what do you reckon?
Because there was one where Logan essentially falls forward onto Mayweather, and Mayweather grabs him, holds him up. So, to keep, I think this is in like the 6th round, so to keep the spectacle going, Mayweather did him a solid and held him up through that massive punch that he just landed, so that Logan could continue.
What do you reckon? Like, you're our expert in fighting, Sean. Was he out?
There's a couple angles, maybe not, but there's the one that shows it from Mayweather's, like behind Mayweather's back across to where Logan is. And yeah, it looks like Logan's eye shot off and he falls forward on Mayweather, and Mayweather's left arm gets like an underhook and holds him up. But whether that was enough that, Logan maybe goes out for a second and it's a knockdown and he can get back up and keep going. Like it's not a 10 count for him. But it does look...
If you're knocked out, surely his legs go on him a bit more.
It does look like the lights go out for a couple seconds, and then with Mayweather holding him up, he comes to. So, hard to say.
What were the last 2 rounds like then? Like, if you're knocked out, you...
Yeah, well...
Did he do it right in the last 2 rounds?
Well, it looked like he was gassed. He had his legs underneath him, but he held a whole bunch. So it's like he was protecting himself. Former wrestler, of course. He's doing a bit of the wrestling. But it's... Anyway, I don't think it's a good or bad look for either way of the sport. They both got paid. They did what they had to do. It, wasn't the most, glorious, blood-lusty kind of boxing match you've ever seen, but... We'll roll into a preview for UFC.
Let's do that.
So UFC 263 is on the weekend. We don't have it there. There's a welterweight fight by Damian Maia and Belal Muhammad, I think it is, or Muhammad, depending on how he spells it. Maia, long-time veteran, and Muhammad coming off an eye poke, no contest with Leon Edwards, which then leads us into the Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz. So Nate Diaz back, his first fight in maybe a year. I don't think he fought last year during COVID at all.
I think, over a year, I think.
Yeah, it might have been late 2019, his last fight. But he, coming back, is absolute superstar of the UFC. He's much-watched TV, but coming up against probably 4th or 3rd in the welterweight division in Leon Edwards. Edwards has kind of been waiting for his chance at the belt.
He's 3rd.
Yeah, it was on the end of the 3-piece and a soda from Masvidal. Masvidal's been up in the, up there, trying to get Usman. Usman's, of course, the champion, and Kobe Covington has been, there and thereabouts. So this fight's maybe for that number 1 contender. It's pretty close, I'd say. Or if Kobe's got your Usman next, whoever wins this has probably got next in line for that fight from there. When did Nate Diaz's last fight, Peps?
Yeah, I'm having a look now. Not been for a while.
The top 2019?
Against Masvidal. Yeah, November 2019.
Yeah, for the BMF belt. Yes.
So 18 months at least.
Which we roll into the next one. So there's 2 title fights in this card. The flyweight title fight is the next one. How do you say that name, Peppy?
Davison Figueiredo.
Yes. He's the current champion, and he's rolling back a fight that they had with Brandon How do you say that? Moreno. Brandon Moreno.
Boom, another wicket.
Yeah, England have just gone bang bang in the cricket.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang,
Is he on a hattie?
bang.
Could be.
That was 2.
Unconfirmed.
No. They're running back. They had an absolute war. I think they went 5 rounds in their last go about in the flyweight division. So this looks like it'll be another ripper fight as the co-main, leading us into Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori.
Big one here.
Yes, this is a big fight. Vettori's kind of come up real quick through the middleweight division.
Yeah, he doesn't bother Israel, surely.
Well, he could bowl a handy left arm orthodox, I will say that.
Shout out to Daniel Vettori if you're listening.
Could hold the bat at 8 as well. Yeah. Couple test tons.
Yeah. Did he? Did you get a few?
Yeah, couple test tons.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Izzy doesn't lose this.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Vettori's definitely got some size about him. He's big for the division. But Israel's
He's
just
big for a New Zealand left arm orthodox bowler.
yes, yes. But I think Israel favourite for mine.
Yep.
And then Whitaker is next in line, I think, for the winner of whoever wins this fight.
Again.
Yes.
Is he in Whitaker again?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because Paul Costa.
No John Jones.
Oh,
Is he John Jones?
No.
No.
Jones wants his heavyweight fight.
Yeah, wants to get paid. But the recent chat is he's still working up to the heavyweight division. Like he's I've got another 6 months of work to get to the point where I'm a heavyweight, I think was the chat. But he also wants to get paid, which the other fight in the middleweight division, which is coming up, was Paul Costa taking on Jared Cannonier. Paul Costa wanted to get paid more, so he's pulled out of that fight, and then Kevin Gaslam has then come into that. And they're essentially, say, 4, 5, and 6 of the division at the moment. So Whitaker is, number one. The other guys are all kind of busy sorting themselves out, while Israel should take care of Marvin, you'd think. But, crazier things have happened in the UFC.
The big question is, what South Australian pub are we settling in to watch this game? I've had a little bit of a look.
Been doing some research?
Yeah.
Who are we shouting out?
Oh.
Yeah. See you on Sunday. These wrong boys.
Yeah, come on down.
Yeah. Might put out some false ones. Make sure the bouncers don't. Nah, let's keep it moving.
Yes.
Indeed. F1.
Yeah, some quick F1 chat. They had the race in Baku on the weekend. There were 3 crashes in quali. Ricardo was one of them.
What country is that?
I have no idea how to say it.
Monkey, you got it.
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. There you
go. That's a pass.
Yeah. Ricardo crashed in the wall and he qualified 13th. Marks, what did you think of the race? I said it was a pretty interesting race, being a street circuit.
Yeah, well, I mean, street circuits are always a hard race to follow. Not too much of overtaking.
Massive long straight on this one, so there was a little bit more of the assistance,
a little bit
from the DRS,
diving into corners and stuff off that straight. Yeah, first half sort of, I guess, went as expected. Mm-hmm. Second half was a little bit more tumultuous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Muggy alludes to, after the first round of pit stops, the Red Bulls had worked them way into 1 and 2, and Hamilton had fought back to third. Then the big kind of event started with Stroll blowing out his left rear tyre. Monks, if you could find some footage of the crashes, would be excellent. While I talk this through, Stroll's doing about 300 Ks or just under, coming on the straight, and his left rear blows out, puts him straight in the wall. Car destroyed. They need a safety car to restart that. The race kind of restarts. There's a lot of good mid-table battle, but the guys out the front, nothing happens to them. Max is clearly in front and driving well. Perez has too much rear end for Hamilton, so Hamilton can't get close enough to make an overtake. But then I think it's lap 46 of lap 47. The unthinkable happens to Max. Verstappen. Yeah, he has a...
I mean the lap
Verstappen.
Before. I think there was
P.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, he has a left rear tyre failure on the straight. He's a bit further down from where Stroll was, so he was doing probably over 300 kilometres towards the 315 mark. He gets blows the tyre, goes straight into the wall. Both had done about 30 laps on the hard tyre. Very similar tyre failure as well, was inside the tyre. Well, this is Lance Stroll's one. You guys can watch that while I talk it through. The inside of the tyre, like the tyre tread, didn't have any wear or rips on it. It was in the sidewall, so the sidewall's ripped away from the tyre, which makes you think it's a tyre failure versus an actual, let's say, puncture for that regards. And since it happened to two guys, the exact same tyre and the exact same spot of the race, they red flagged the race for lap 49. So with 2 laps to go, they did a standing start, everyone on fresh new tyres. Verstappen's already out of the race. They're coming into this with 2 laps left. And
so off the red flag, it was Perez and Hamilton front row.
Well, yeah, 1 and 2. And the last 2 laps was excellent. It was just complete fighting between the whole field up and down, guys trying to make moves and dive inside each other. But it was interesting. Hamilton on the radio says it's a marathon, not a sprint, with the idea like, hey, we need to score points here, get some points since Max can't get his, and we'll go off into next week. But on the restart, he gets the jump on Perez. Unfortunately, he's hit the magic brake button, which puts essentially all his brake bias to the front of the car. He locks up on the first corner, goes straight off into the emergency lane, goes from essentially first and second to last, doesn't score any points in this. Perez wins this race. Vettel comes up into second. He finishes second in the race. First podium for Aston Martin in their first year. He was driver of the day. I think he made it up 14 positions or something throughout the entire race. Like it was, he had a really, really good drive. And Gasly, I believe, was third.
Yep.
So both drivers that were leading the championship failed to score any points in this. Pirelli probably have some questions that they need to answer with the tyre failures. I think they've already come out and just blamed debris. I think the drivers aren't overly happy with Pirelli and their tyres, so F1 in general. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, so we're on Pirelli. So they've got 5 tyre compounds that they can select for any race.
Yeah, and Crater, super soft, soft, and hard.
Yep, yeah. And then within the race, you got to use all those tyres within the race.
Yeah, you got to use two different types of treads.
So what happened off the back of Monaco, Pirelli suggests or put up the exact same tyre compounds as Monaco, assuming both street circuits, similar sort of race. However, Monaco is a slower, lower speed sort of circuit with a lot more corners and turns and closer track.
Yeah.
Whereas with Baku, obviously with the big straight at the end,
they
it's
get
a lot more
max
fast paced, so a lot more wear on the tyre. So I think that's where Pirelli's strategy with selecting the tyres is just
Yeah, so across that 5 range, they've picked the 3 lowest compounds. Yep. So the hard is essentially the medium compound. Yeah. So, and they talked about tyre pressures and things like that, but sounds like Pirelli might have got this one wrong. Interesting. I think they've got a triple header coming up. So whether there's 3 races in a row or they've got a week off and then there's 3 races in a row.
Yep. So this week, is it this week? No, sorry, next week. It's France. And then the week after that, sorry. Well, I can't do quick maths. We're over in Austria for a double header. So France and then Austria for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that's where F1 is at the moment. I think Perez moved up. He's probably 50 points, I think, behind Hamilton and Max currently in the standings. They're just over 100 and he's at about 50. So it's pretty close. And
so Max is at 105. Lewis is at 101. And Mackie, you like this. Perez is at 69.
There you
go. Nice.
And that, I think, will wrap up F1 chat for this week. Do you want to jump into some golf?
Interesting. At the Memorial Tournament at Ohio, John Ram, he had the lead. 3 rounds in, he was 6 shots ahead of anyone else?
6 up, yeah.
Oh. And he
on a good form as well.
Or he got binned for having a COVID.
Yes,
he had one COVID.
Just one.
just a little COVID.
Yeah. It's so, and you saw him he obviously last year got done exact same position, leading a tournament, had to withdraw because he got COVID. I think, so he was hanging out with someone who had it, and then
close contact.
They test. It's garbage. He had 2 negative tests the days before, and then copped a positive one or whatever, and he broke down there at the. He literally finished the 18th green. Yeah, finished. Yeah, I'm 6 strokes up. An official walks up to him and just says, "Hey, John, you've got coronavirus. You can't play the tournament anymore. Would you mind just walking past several hundred people and just making your way outside?
Yeah, John, that'll cost
you. Is there one sport?
$1.7 million.
Is there one sport that is better suited for social distancing
than golf?
Fucking golf.
Name it.
Just making playing a mask.
The one bloke under any threat would probably be his caddy. The bloke who stood next to him for the last 3 days, sweat on him. They've probably hooked up a couple of times. Oh my God, this poor bastard. $1.6 million.
I know.
Sorry, sir, we can't facilitate you with coronavirus. We can't keep you 1.5 million. Put him on at 7 o'clock in the morning before anyone gets there.
I'll get it.
You get his round in, yeah.
Oh. Poor,
Feel for him.
Like you saw his body
the body
sink.
language.
The big rig that he is just crumpled to a little mouse, little Spanish mouse, little cheese man. So rough. Like again, whatever. We can go. Like Patrick Cantley ended up winning. Whatever.
First world problem, I guess. But
yes.
you
Obviously, there are people around there, but God, I don't know what. And then they just carried on and played the whole tournament the next day. Anyone who was there could have rocked up.
Yeah,
he literally walked past everyone, touched several people were touching him.
Yeah.
That official who spoke to him, were they not allowed at the course the next day?
That's right.
Whatever. And no, we won't do it. We won't do it. We won't jump into it. We're a sports podcast.
Who won the memorial?
Patrick Cantley ended up winning the Royal. Like, I don't know. Yes, good on Patrick Cantley. I don't know. I'm salty about it because the replay was on at the pub when Peps and I were watching it, and Rahm was just absolutely dominating. Like he was 6 strokes up going the last day. You don't lose that.
Couldn't lose it.
No.
I don't think Cantley got 6 strokes on him. So if Rahm hits even, he wins. Whatever.
It is what it is.
$1.67 million.
I know it's a lot of money.
And he copped a DNF, like just copped a cut. He made a cut.
I know.
Oh, John Rahm. He's a good guy too. I really like John Rahm.
Yeah, he does seem like a good guy. Anyways, we must move forward.
Talk some tennis.
Yeah, our strong point.
Roland Garros. I love me some tennis.
Good luck with the women's names.
Let me go to work. I guess the big news
Ash Barty.
Serena Williams. Federer obviously withdrew with his in his 3rd round match. There's some chat that he's obviously just come back from injury and he just needs to find some form before Wimbledon. Obviously, he's a specialist of the grass. He's the greatest ever Wimbledon performer. Yeah, which
he wants to win Wimbledon.
Stuck.
That's what he's saying.
People were bit turned off. Like you're using one of the 4 biggest tournaments in the world as a warm up. Yeah. Like
why not?
That's not how you do it. When you're the best to ever do it, you can absolutely go for it.
Yeah.
We are already up to the semi-finals. Zverev and Tsitsipas, 2 of those young guns who are supposed to take the mantle. They're in one semi-final, and 2 guys you may have heard of, Novak Djokovic versus Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, I've heard of
They go and do the dance. Obviously, Djokovic has the head-to-head battle, so this is going to be an all-timer. We talked about...
Does he have it on clay, though?
Wouldn't be on clay, but Nadal's record, we talked about, it's over 100 now, 102.
It's ridiculous.
Man's lost twice at the French Open. I don't know if I told you boys, my brother put a bet on Nadal about a month ago before the tournament, and it got paid out. It's already it got paid out like last week. So shout out the D-man collecting there. I just love Nadal. Love Nadal on clay. It's just a really cool record to have. I'd really hate for Djokovic to win this. He's a real knob, Robert. So,
no Djokovic fans on the Esky, unfortunately.
In world tennis. Outside of Serbia, I can't imagine there's too many people.
No, he keeps rubbing me the wrong way.
He does. But it is.
Do you see him in the empty crowds and he's going, rah! Come on, man. Like,
and the individual sportsmen, they're always tapped a bit. They're wired differently, but Nadal doesn't carry on like that. Federer doesn't carry on like that. Carry yourself with some respect, would you, Novak? Yeah. You jerk. Djokovic. That was on the Esky for...
what about the ladies?
In the ladies, obviously that girl Ash Barty, the main reason we watch women's tennis, she pulled out in the 2nd round match. A lot of injuries in world tennis at the moment. Just getting back into the tour, it's not that surprising. Like there are, the conditioning isn't there. They haven't really played, and you add the travel, all the extra things that go into playing tennis around the world. If your body's just a little bit underdone, you're going to be cooked. You can't play in a Grand Slam. You can't play 7 matches back to back to back. So,
So who are playing the semi-finals there?
The semi-finals are Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova and Tamara Zidansek.
Yep, that's good.
I won money on Pavlyuchenkova during the tournament, so I'm happy with that.
I ain't know how to say her name.
Babora versus Maria. Maria Sakkari.
Krejlikova.
Krejcikova.
And Maria Sakkari. I think the big talking point out of this, and look,
None of the big names.
yes. So in the men's, and I'm not putting it like it's a men's versus ladies thing, but 1, 3, 5, 6 in the boys, and 17, 31, 2 unseeded.
Unseeded, yeah, exactly right.
So
The big
from
names
a
haven't shown
purely betting side of things,
Makes things well,
Interesting.
go to the upset in the ladies.
Yeah.
but yeah. And what's been more dominant over the last, say, I don't know, call it 15 years? Has
Serena
it,
Williams.
Well, exactly. Or is it?
Hey.
Will I give you Serena Williams, or will I give you the Nadal, Djokovic, Federer? I'd argue that the men's has been more dominant than you've had more. Obviously, you're going to have more winners, but has Serena Williams' dominance been as impressive as those three?
It doesn't take those three.
Yeah.
Like this is that'll never happen again. As sport will be dominated by
And
three
maybe
teams.
Maybe
or
we
three.
should be thankful to watch that in tennis.
Absolutely,
Well,
1,000%. And
You take someone like Andy Murray, he probably
fact
wished that he'd played in a different decade so he'd win some tournaments.
100%.
As the fourth wheel, essentially, to those other three.
Absolutely. And even I think Serena's dominance gets overshadowed by those three. Like,
Yeah.
she's probably been the most dominant athlete ever. If she was 10 years earlier, there'd be no question. But at the same time, in the same sport, these three guys are doing the same thing. And as always, the action's going to go to the men. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting conversation. That's tennis.
Yeah.
Experts here.
I love my tennis, so.
Thank you, Margaret, for the insight. We're going to tackle some soccer. I think soccer's going to finish it up for the night.
Yep, the last sport.
Yes. Yeah, and I was going to ask you, Monkey, if you could bring up the groups, but it looks like we might have a list there already.
Oh, I can maybe do it off the top of my head.
Oh, there you go. So the Euro start Saturday. There's 11 host cities. There will, of course, be some home field advantages. It's a 24-team comp. Top two go through from every group. Is that how it works?
So
And
top two go through,
yeah.
and then a lot of thirds go through.
Yes.
So, and
And 4 of 6 of the thirds go. Yeah, cool. Because there's how many is there?
6 groups.
6 groups either side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So it'll go to 20.
all 1 and 2s go through,
Yep.
and then 4 out of 6 threes go through.
yes.
And they're in a lot of places in Europe. So,
But that would be 28.
A massive home advantage because Italy plays in Rome.
Yeah.
England plays in London.
Mm-hmm.
I think Germany plays in Munich. Like, I think that's got to. You got
No, it has to play into it, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we talked about it just has to happen. I kind of like it. We're in weird times at the moment. Let's have it. Let's have it all over the place.
Yeah.
And you can't touch all bits of wood. If you had it in one place and that cocoa hits, that's game over.
Yeah. Just
England
you look
lost
at
another wicket.
Yeah, you look at the IPL, etc. And how that impacts any of the tournaments. See how it impacts it when they can't then move around. So some flexibility might help the Euros. Interesting. The defending champions are Portugal from France in 2016. Belgium are currently the world number ones. This is their big chance by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, look at their group. Belgium in Group B.
Yeah.
They get it out of that easily.
Yeah, they should be 1. Denmark would be 2, you'd think.
Denmark, Russia, and Finland, the other teams in there. Denmark being the 10th ranked team was quite surprising for mine.
Oh, they're good. They're
10th in the world, good.
No, probably
Netherlands
probably
is
who you've
16.
Yeah, it's who you've played.
look,
recently.
FIFA rankings aren't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's you play more games, you're obviously going to be higher.
higher
rankings.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think they get out of that group.
Yeah, they should.
Russia and Finland, yeah.
Yeah, Belgium have never won the Euros. They've been runner-up in 1980. They were 3rd in the World Cup. They do have Hazard and De Bruyne.
You know who else has never won the Euros?
Who?
England.
There you go.
Never
They're
won it.
shit at tournaments.
Yeah.
They just suck at tournament football.
They won.
It's
the
never
World-
coming home,
They
let's
did
put it that way.
win the World Cup once.
66.
66.
Same year as St Kilda. Won their early flag.
They are second favourites, paying $6 on sports.
That's
Which I find wild.
That's short. That's
very
short.
The
Watch-
team's
watch
pretty
Belgium
sick.
play.
The team's pretty sick, but
Nah.
I don't know. Over a whole tournament with France and Germany.
Look at France. Monks, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down. Look at France.
France's group is the problem.
But with this fake third teams going through, a group of death is meh.
True.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
you feel for Hungary in this regards, and you're just like, you're
poor,
done.
Yeah,
You're cooked.
poor fellas copping that.
Okay, because they've got France, Portugal, and Germany in this group.
Mate, France's team is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they're good.
Who's in for France, Peps?
Well, off the top of my head, Larry, keeper, Varane, in
A little known guy named Pogba.
Pogba, you heard of him? He has been missing. He has been missing for United recently.
He's all right this year.
Yeah.
Him and Kante in the middle. That's a
yes.
perfect partnership.
Kante, probably the Ballon d'Or. Griezmann up front. Giroud, you pick him off. Yeah, you get him off the bench.
Mbappe up next to him.
Mbappe, you heard of him?
Yeah. He's good.
He's pretty good. Mate, they don't have a weakness.
No.
They don't have a weakness.
They are stacked. It's weird. Yeah. And you look at England's group, Croatia, Czech Republic, Scotland. Like, yeah, obviously they get out of there easy. But again, a group of death means nothing if a third place team can make it through.
I guess. Yeah.
It'd be
for
it'd be two third place teams, wouldn't it? Because you'd need 20.
4. So think about it.
So the two lowest don't.
So 6, 12, 4, 16. So 16, 8. Yeah, so 4. Yeah.
So take Germany, for example. If they lose both their games to France and Portugal and say they draw with Hungary, they could finish outside of those top 6 third guys, so they could actually get bounced out of the group at that
They
group
won't
stage.
draw with Hungary.
They shouldn't, but I'm just pointing out that's a possibility.
Who comes up with these fucking groups?
It is.
So they
Is
got
it
1,
picked
2,
out of a
3,
hat?
4, 5.
It's pretty much.
I think
it's
it must
close.
be
It's
because
close
you got
to.
2 and 5 in there.
Yep.
I know they are sort of designated geographically a little bit, like they're qualifying. So
Well, you got Czech Republic there with England, so
it's weird. It's a weird process. That's for qualifying though. So obviously you wouldn't have England and Scotland in the same group, despite them being in the same group. Lol.
yes, they are in that group.
I have no idea. To answer your
Yeah,
question.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah, you
the
got
lotto.
three
It's
of
the
the
big.
top.
They pick out the ball and it's like, you're D1 or something like that, and then
Because you look at
put in
Group
that
C,
position.
Netherlands are the 6th. Yeah, that's the highest. This is dumb.
That is the weakest group.
Yes.
Netherlands always suck at
Mm-hmm.
tournament football as well. I don't know. Yeah, like Spain have a fucking good team as well.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
I think they get out of that easily.
Yes, they should. Sweden's a bit sneaky. I think they did pretty
Yeah.
well at the last World Cup. But
Yeah, they would land for second.
And what's the top group there? Italy, Switzerland, Wales, and Turkey.
Oh,
I
watch
think.
out for the Italians.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what team are we going to pick and back? And I always love to follow an Italian team back from the early days.
Spicy sausage.
Yes, the spicy Italian sausage from their World Cups in the early 2000s. I got, all right.
You're going to intercept 2 blokes with Italian heritage on this podcast.
Yeah, you don't
That's
know that.
outstanding.
He's got Italian on the
The whole mother's
there's
side is
no
Italian.
Irish in this, so
No Ireland from dad's side, so mum's side's Italian. It's the motherland. I have to-
we could have 3
If you're
Italians
still
here.
listening, fangulo.
Yeah, no, and maybe this is your fault, Peps, but with no Australian teams in the World Cup, it was like, well, I really like the Italian team. I just
you
followed
like
the Italians. Of course, they never won a World Cup during that time frame, but
Italy won the 2005 World Cup.
Yes. There you go.
I'm not that confident. I think
Who are you backing?
England will be fun to watch because it'll be a train wreck or they win. It'll be one way or the other. They'll end up losing to like Scotland or something.
True.
I think a lot of people sleeping on Spain.
Ooh.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
They're one of the best. Like they're not worse than they've ever been. I think Spain's one to watch out for. And also, as a second pick, Germany. Like hard group, but
good.
everyone's shitting on them. But I think Spain and Germany can't go wrong. France, obviously, the short price favourite to take it out. But if I had to put money on it, Spain and Germany.
I'll take a lead. Like you go to the NBA, we talked about Utah being the most underrated one seed ever. Look at the 1 seed here, Belgium. I don't know why anyone's going against Belgium. Like they're a juicy price at the start of the market.
Mate, their best 11.
Oh, it's very.
They'll stick it with anyone.
That will rival anyone, and they do have a very soft group in Denmark, Russia, and Finland. So no scary part there. You look at France. Who knows? They could lose to Portugal and Germany, and then they have to win against Hungary, like Sean says. And then out of the group stage, they have to face a Spain in the first round out. So Belgium's my tip. They're going to be a fun team to watch, but the heart says Italy, obviously, of course. Shout out Nonna.
Monks, what do you got down the end there?
I like Belgium as well. Yeah.
I think Portugal is another sneaky one as well. Everyone probably, they think if France will do it easy, and then
half
Portugal
the team
will have to
fucking
fight.
plays together at Wolves, and then you put on fucking Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes.
Euros are a lot of fun. I really like
so
Euros
good.
because they like Scotland being in here is cool.
Well,
The World Cup's going to be
as well.
like that going forward because they've added a bunch of teams, which I don't know if I necessarily like that.
Well, does that mean there'll be a lot more, say, African nation teams as well?
Yeah. But Turkey are in there. Wales being there, that's pretty cool. Like you never get to watch Wales.
What about North Macedonia?
I saw that they are the I think they're 600 to 1 or something.
Yeah. So
Shout out Goran Pandev getting a mention in the notes.
well, probably the best Macedonian ever to play at a lot of time at Inter. It's interesting because they used to just be Macedonia, but they had to change the naming rights because so it's North Macedonia now.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's a Greece versus Macedonia kind of conflict.
Is it still the red and yellow
one.
flag?
I think it was who had the rights for Alexander the Great, and they're still going to court. It's
Shout out the
Alexander the Great. We finally got another one.
We got there.
shout out the
World's
Macedonian
greatest
club
leaders.
in Queanbeyan hosted my 18th birthday party. So there you go.
Anyways, we might wrap this bitch up. What do you reckon, Sean?
Yes, I think that's it. I don't think we've got anything extra in the notes. The Socceroos did win their qualifying World Cup
Get
2
the
games.
Get the fuck around them.
Yeah,
they
they've been
are
good.
that good. They'll play. They'll be in the World Cup.
Oh, they'll be in the World Cup.
Socceroos,
Yeah.
they get a buy pretty much to get there.
Socceroos.
New Zealand get a walk in. Like Oceania, I think Oceania gets 2 spots now. Or Oceania gets a spot. Asia gets an extra 2 spots or something.
And what conference are we in, Joseph?
Asia.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah, and we.
But I'm saying like the
Fuck
World
New
Cup's been
Zealand.
saturated.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Go
Yeah,
Black Caps.
the Middle East nations aren't real happy with us being in their group considering
we're good as-
we're better than they are. Instead of us having to go through South America all the time.
hard road.
Yes. So, they beat Kuwait
yeah.
and Taiwan. Is there some of their World Cup qualifying groups. Undefeated so far. They got Syria on top of theirs at the moment. But, we imagine they'll be making the World Cup this and the one coming up.
I hope Syria gets in. That'll be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do it, considering what they've been through, unbelievable.
Some of the you'd think the stories of some of those players that would have got
Yeah, ridiculous.
Good luck to them. Anyway, what a nice moment to end.
Yes,
Our
I think
episode.
that was. Just a quick update in the cricket. England are 94 with 3
3
down.
for 94, please. They do it
Sorry.
wrong in the Northern Hemisphere.
True. It's they
Jimmy
flip it over
Anderson.
there.
Sack Jimmy Anderson.
Get rid of him.
Burns is still in
Horrible
there.
tweets.
Bigot.
What is that? 41 from 122 at the moment for Burns on his
How can you
ends?
read that?
Horrible
Barely.
tweets.
So that'll wrap up on the Esky for this week. Thank you, boys, for coming out. We will see you all again this time next week.
Catch you next week.
Catches.
All right. Bye.
Bye.